The story begins with the fact that two girls saw a guy and wondered how they could get into the Blue Heart. The guy had three possible answers. The first was that he should flirt with girls and get a pill for it. The second option, deliberately indicating the wrong direction, reward filling, was the ability to alchemy plus 2 points. And also the third option is that he will tell them the right way to the hall. The reward will be 1 attractiveness point. Then the guy chose the third option, and she said that there was another one ahead. They should go straight. Turn right, then they will see a rock that looks like a sheep, and in half an hour they will be there. The girls hit the guy, and after he understands how the system works, it is very easy to use, so he will continue to patrol the hills. The guy's name is Ran, and he is a disciple of the contemplation sect in this tennis world. As in time, having a system is standard. But no matter how good the system is, you need to know how to use it. For example, at the very beginning, he almost fell into a trap. At first, the first thing he did was move back in time 3 days ago, but he didn't have a system and he was just cleaning the floor. People shouted at him to do it harder and faster. After all, he is in their house. At one point, the guy just got angry and threw the rag on the floor. He said he was born for this. He wants to be the main character. If today he no longer stays with the guys, so he could leave. Later, he sat on the street very hungry and wanted to eat. As if ordered, an old man appeared, who decided to help the gingerbread and let him eat. The old man told why he decided to feed the boy. He sees that he has amazing bones and good martial arts talent. In less than 3 years, he will become the best of the sect's young generation. And only then did the guy have a system that gave him the opportunity to choose 3 answer options. The first option was that the guy would say directly that you students would accept him, and the reward for completing it would be the highest rank. The second option about now, he will say that he has never seen such a great man as the master. Because of this, he will receive a flaming blade. And also the third option is that the reward for this random eye of the basic attribute will be politely refused. Finally, the system appeared, and the guy was very happy. This he understood that joint bonuses are great, and the old man is the patron, and the system rolled into one. Therefore, he chose the first option and asked to be accepted as a student. The reward in the form of a fiery body will be very useful in the sect. Obviously, the system specifically selects rewards for him. The second option, the weapon, is of course good, but now it is more important to have technology and practice. She told me that the guy could become his student, but he must first pass the tests. Then the system reported that the task of one of the options was completed, the student's task was received, and the reward will be calculated after completing the task. The goal of the task is to become a student of the master in a black robe. After that, I realized that the system does not immediately provide a barrier. He just starts the task, and it doesn't matter. There's still a system, and it wasn't a scary guy. The old man came to one place and said that she was there on purpose. It is called Pikling, and this is where he will undergo his training. The old man turned to the guy and told him that cultivation is the path of suffering and perseverance, and ore mining is the best way to demonstrate these 2 traits. If he shows persistence and goes to the tests of the Guardians of the Mountains, then the old man will come to accept him into the sect. A third person appeared and accompanied the wound. 1 day later, Ran mined ore. Later, the boy got tired of making money, and a man asked him who was giving him a break because he had not yet passed the test. In order to join the sect, he must work harder. Ran stated that he is truly worthless. He is ready to make amends to the master. He is very sorry, but he really cannot dig anymore. Then the man began to develop a wound. The man said that the first people who came here fought for months to join the sect, but he gave up everything on the very first day. The man said that he wasted his money on the boy. He is not a genius who can join a sect and become a master. Then the guy had 3 answer options. The first was that he would continue to lie, and for this he would receive the highest rank. The second option was to beg my opponent to release him. For this he will receive a higher wound attack. And the third option is that he will continue to mine ore. For this he will receive 1 base point. He realized that if the rewards of the first option were too difficult to fulfill, then he would do the second option. So he began to plead with his opponent. But they started beating the guy. He understood that he would continue in the same spirit. Your question would be killed. Therefore, the guy would decide the third option, and he said that he was ready to continue digging. How he chose the third option, and his body was enveloped in blue. He developed 1 point and suffered complications. Finally, the guy understood how the system works. After all, his strength was completely restored. Then his boss said that he continued to work, and the guy agreed with this. He promised that he would work well. I understood that the better the reward, the more difficult the tasks, and the option for which the simplest barrier is the safest. Although the system does not give him an advantage, he was tricked into digging black coal in the mine again. But now that he understands how to use the system, he can perfectly avoid danger, and at one point he realized that it was time for him to escape. Also, 3 options did not appear before. The first option was that he uses the opportunity while the beholder drinks and eats to escape from the mountain. The reward will be a tsunami finger. The second is to quietly navigate the passage to the outside of the mountain while mining, for which you will be rewarded with a purple gold hook in the form of a tiger's head, highest rank. There was also a third option that suggested he recruit other workers interested in escaping. For this, the reward was taken by the Lotus Shera. And the fourth option is to go to bed, because tomorrow I'll dig again. Reward for completion is 1 attribute point. At that moment, another guy turned to the wound, who offered to run away together, so he chose the third option. However, the reward should be considered lower, so perhaps it's not so much to fear, so I decided to try it. All the guys sat down at one fire, and they started having dinner. One guy asked how the excavation work was going. The second one said that there was still half a month and he should be ready. And the third guy said that the watch was tight these days, so they would have to wait until the watcher got drunk before they could escape. Ran raised that all 3 options agreed, and he has absolutely no way with them. Then Vanya was asked what his plans were. Ran understood that there was no need to rush, so he decided to just go to bed and chose the fourth option. After half a month, the guys who wanted to escape were beaten half to death. Ran understood looking at this, that the system was not mistaken. It does not so much help him grow as it warns him that he can avoid all possible consequences if he continues to remove the barriers of attributes from us. Sometime later, the guys were walking and an explosion came from the mountain. The Ran had 3 options. The first was that it would remain in place and would not be removed. The second one will help put out the fire, and the third one will run away. For now, everything is in the house. The guys understood that the system was acting somehow strangely this time. But the guy decided to trust the system and choose the third option. He was noticed by a guard who already wanted to kill the guy, because he tried to escape. An unknown person appeared who was able to protect the main character. The guy also had 3 answer options. Now the idea was that he would shout to the unknown person not to come closer. The second is him running down the hill. And the third option is that he will shout to the great warrior who must save him. That helped him. The guy chose the third option and asked for help. The unknown person agreed that he would help the main character go down. He immediately noticed that this guy is a little interesting, but is not afraid of him after he killed someone in front of him. An unknown person asked the village where his house was located. The guy said that he doesn't have a home, he was tricked into digging here, and now he has nowhere to go. A little while later. The guys were talking about the fact that if Ran passes the test, after he masters the heart return technique and the first sword technique, he will become a full-fledged student and receive the right to worship the sect. Already in my wound room, I came to learn the technique, and he succeeded the first time. All he had to do was report it. But the guy again faced 3 options for action. The first was that he would incorrectly tell this to the Gan that the fly is a technique for returning the heart. The second is to remain silent and continue to study, and the third one is to do nothing. The guy decided to choose the third option because it was the safest, and it turns out that he needs to howl in order to sleep as a wolf in sheep's clothing. And be calm, like an old dog, he must survive in order to enjoy the rewards of the system in the future. 5 years have already passed and Ran is seriously discarding his skills in the contemplation sect. With this system, he can become the strongest man on this continent, but such ambitious goals do not bother him now. After all. Jumps off at the slightest sign that he is the center of attention. This is of course good, but life is more valuable to him, and he must always remember this. In one bar, the guys started arguing and were ready to fight, but they were interrupted by the main character. He also had 3 options: to start a younger brother and teach a lesson to the asshole, pay for a drink for your older brother, or quickly pass by with your head down. The guy didn't know if the speed he had just overcome counted. Fast. He was given 1 point. An elder appeared and began to separate the guys. Ran himself saw the elders nearby, so he understood that he shouldn't get involved in a squabble. At the Ran restaurant, I ordered a set lunch and tofu, and the waiter himself was a poor guy. That is, this child always orders just cabbage, tofu, or white rice. The guy himself noticed that a total of 7 choices were made and the following awards were received: 2 for strength, 1 for alchemy, 1 for phonetics, 1 for attractiveness, and 2 for painting. It would be nice if the skill points were interchangeable, but he doesn't really understand what the point of a skill like painting is. Brother Lou appeared. He decided to sit next to the guy, and he said that the pills he took helped him very well. And the guy also noticed that the main character had only been in the clan for a few years, but had already achieved such success in alchemy. The guys said that this was all for the brother who saved him from the mine, so he was glad that he could help him now. Brother Lu understood that this was the result of his efforts. In addition, he successfully completed all the tasks. I saw that the guy always skips work all day, but his skills still quickly improved. Although Rand does not engage in such practices, he is clearly cheating. But he didn't understand how it was possible to live in this world without deception. Then he came up with an answer. And he said that he really is a stupid person, and he works in secret. He understood that his brother was very kind to him. He should not tell him the secret of his ability system, because if someone had a higher cultivation than him, I would know that he would use it to obtain rare items. Lu that their sect doesn't know much about his talent, but he joined the Blue Heart Hall, which was written off rummaging around in chess, and now he is very good at alchemy. Even if he doesn't sleep every day and only practices, he won't be able to improve so quickly. Lu is sure that the guy got something while he was in the mine. Something not for cultivation, but for something else. Rand breathed a sigh of relief. And he said that it's difficult to hide something from his brother. Technically speaking, the system really just provides opportunities. Then the guys offered to transport him to the Velvet Grass Hall because he was still not interested in practicing, so at least he could achieve something in alchemy. He could rise to the top even faster than Lu himself. But knowing the wound, the guy will not advise him to do this if he doesn't like it, because he knows that the guy does not strive for fame and wealth. In the evening, the main character met a girl. He understood that she was very beautiful and therefore carried danger and problems. She called the name and said that Zijing from the Hall of the Mirror of Water, she expresses respect to him. The guy didn't say that she had identified his name as Wang, so I decided to pass by. But then, out of nowhere, an assistant appeared and started calling the guy. After all, he was asked to find a Litang game of Go with him. Then the hero came back and said that he was just playing a joke on us with his sister. Then he asked the girl why she came to the Blue Heart Hall. She said that in 3 days she would go down the mountain for the first time and wanted to ask the guy to help her with the test. Then the guy had 3 answer options. The first option was that he would say straight out that there were no problems and be ready to help her. The second is to ask her a question, wondering what was the first task the sister did. And third, answer her that he is busy, so he will just leave. He didn't understand how dangerous it was. Therefore, he asked his sister for forgiveness, because lately he had been very in favor, and this time his friend invited him to play a game, and this is a very important game for him. Therefore, I decided to leave the girl. The girl was embarrassed. She didn't know how to be rejected, and now this moment has come. Since childhood, no one has rejected her, and she noticed that this is a very special person. The main character began to run, and a girl also ran after him and asked him to wait. After all, she hasn't finished speaking yet. Then, Yao's sister appeared along the road while the guy was running. I decided to stop the main character. The guy himself noticed that, as he expected from his sister, who could give a mid-rank award, even talking to her was very difficult. When the guy stopped, my sister asked for forgiveness, which got the main character into trouble. But this test is very important for her, so she would be very happy if he came and helped her. And again they answered that Rand had a lot to do and was busy. I assumed that 3 answer options appeared again. He will immediately say that he is joking and has nothing to do. The second option, he said that I know that his sister is trying to agitate him, it won't work. And the third option is to answer simply yes. The reward is randomly filling an attribute point. Sister Xin suggested that her sister leave here, and I didn't want to help them. They will find someone else who can. She said it. But Xin told his sister that she shouldn't say that. If someone refused him for a reason, then they can't just be angry with him. The sister understood her sister. Then a man appeared right out of the wall. It was a Kong. There were also people standing around who were surprised, because this is the same brother Kong who from the Hall of the Water Mirror is exactly the one who 3 years ago single-handedly destroyed the rebel army to protect the people. This was truly an outstanding person. He greeted all the guys, namely the guys from the Blue Heart Hall. He introduced himself. Kong is aware that the elder sister is leaving for testing in a couple of days and therefore offered her help. But then the girl noticed that the main character himself had disappeared. Therefore she told her brother Kong that she had something to do, so they would talk another day. Kong of course wanted to escort the girl, but she did not listen and listened. For all this there is a price, the main character of Art himself observed. As he expected from a sister who might be called upon by a mid-ranking task, she is truly terrifying. Already in the evening, the girl herself was playing a musical instrument, and she heard how someone did not understand, and was not at a loss that someone dared to upset her daughter. A girl's tutorial appeared, who noticed that Xin plays the pipa better and better, but since she plays it so well, her thoughts are very easy to read, so she asked her to tell her who dared to offend her since her dearest student. The girl replied that no one made a son over her. She just met a person who made her be more attentive to people. Then the teacher asked what kind of person it was, but the sister simply tried to wriggle out of this question, and she said that she had not done her homework for that day, and said goodbye to the teacher. The teacher understood that this was really rare, that it was better to check because she did not want her student to be deceived. Then already in the afternoon, the main character left his home. He was surprised because first the younger sister came, now the older sister came. He didn't understand what a tense few days it had been. The teacher asked the guy where he was going to go. He turned around sharply and said that he did not expect to see her here, and she explained that she had found a way out of the deadlock situation, so she would like to go to the chess house. The teacher noticed that he didn't even blush. When he lies, he has good psychological qualities. Several variations of the answer appeared before the guy. The first one was a student who doesn't know. The second guy could answer that he assumes that the girl is the keeper of the water mirror hall. And the third option was that he would answer that even the entire sect could not find a second person with such an outstanding appearance. The guy was going to follow the herd and behave more like students. I don't know much about people from the outer halls, but he never thought that this would be a dangerous option himself. Then he said that he was afraid that even in the entire sucking sect, there was no second such person with such a wonderful appearance. Therefore, he assumes that she is the keeper from the hall of the water mirror. He has long admired her. He told her this. The girl herself was surprised because she thought that the guy should be a student who likes modest things, so he should have behaved like most students, not knowing about the girl's layers in the outer halls. And she said no. The girl introduced herself. She said that it was very insightful, but she didn't remember that she had seen such a student like him before. Then he asked how he knew her. The guy said that he had the honor of listening to the great guardian play the lute. The tiger gets nervous when he listens to her music. The monkey does not scream when he listens to her music. Her music is unique and graceful. This student gets a feeling of admiration. The woman was surprised. She had never heard such words, and she never could have thought that she would find a soulmate in this hall of a blue heart. She noticed that he had been a registered student in this blue heart hall for 5 years. Therefore, he asked me to extend my hand. The girl wanted to check the guy at what level he was, and she was surprised. She couldn't understand how he was now at the 5th level of Ki. After all, usually if someone can pass the sex test, then even if you are the most talented, you will be able to reach the 10th level of training in a year. He has been in the contemplation sect for 5 years, but he only has 5 levels of training, which is even worse than uselessness. The guy himself personally could not do anything about it because, after all, his development is different from usual. The number of shackles awarded by the system cannot be counted in this world. Even if it just comes out bursting with combat power, it cannot be measured. However, this allows him to easily pretend to be a wolf in sheep's clothing. The guy turned on the actor and said that he was already very glad to be part of this sect. The girl herself understood that it was very sad and obvious that he was able to pass the sect's test, but he was absolutely untalented. The girl realized that this was all not surprising, because he decided to run away when he saw her. He must have come through the SMO and suspected the girl. And in the end, watching him burn, so she understood that he was good. The woman asked to tell her how he managed to make sure that his sisters and brothers passed, and every time he became their desired seal. Rand said that nothing is more important than caution, and he always observes and thinks before making any decision, thereby preventing many troubles. The woman admitted that this was well said. This is what he is really taught for testing, and he seems to have grasped the essence. The guy also said that he was just more careful, because he knows that he is weak. The woman also noticed that it was also important to be strong inside, and as a sign of her trust in him, she decided to make him an iron seal and her favorite student to help her pass the first test. The guy realized that this was not the scenario. He chose the simplest third one, so he became perplexed and did not understand why he was now in this position. Become a pity seal for a girl was a reward of the DG rank. Several answer options appeared before the guy. The first was that he would say, "Thank you very much for your trust, but lately he has a lot of work." The second option was that he would tell her that it's not that he would like to, but during this time he will gain a new understanding of moves in chess, so he would, "I wanted to stay on the mountain and play a few more games with the audience." And of course, the third option, the student is simply embarrassed by the unexpected mercy. The guy began to think about it all. The first option means that if he refuses mercy now, then the consequences will definitely cause new problems. Option 2 is that if he can clearly state his reasons, then this is much more than just getting dirty, but it is also risky. And finally, is the promise of becoming an iron seal a better option, but yesterday everything was different. And then he realized, The reward at the DG rank level was not only for how difficult her and the trials were, but for the fact that he decided to help her yesterday, then Brother Kong came for him then, he was the culprit of the DG option. Therefore, I chose the third option. The woman said that it was now decided, and asked to wait for her at the door of the hall in 2 days in the morning. 2 days later, the woman stood with her students and waited for the guy. Xin Luo is very embarrassed. After all, her teacher forced her brother to come here, and because of this, she is causing him trouble. Now she understood what it was like to worry that another person might hate you, and she understood that this was very bad. The two girls apologized for disturbing the guy. 3 more sisters also appeared inside and ran to greet their brother. The main character was shocked this was new. He didn't want to deal with multiple women. He accepted perfectly well that there would be a problem because of them. Each introduced herself. The first Shui, the second Yin, and the third Miao, they greeted their brother in unison. The teacher turned to the guy and said that this time he would be bothered by a lot of water mirrors in the hall, and they needed a reliable older brother, so if it's not difficult for him, let him take a few more sisters with him and help them. The guy agreed with this because he had another choice. The twins immediately began asking the guy what kind of martial arts he was good at and what kind of common weapons he liked to use. The guy asked the girls to be silent, and don't talk or move until he says so. The guy said that since he became their escort, he is responsible for the danger and they must obey his orders. He also said that you will not obey his command and in no case will you do so without thinking. The girls should come back and change into more ordinary fabrics and clothes, and he will be waiting for them at this place in half an hour. Being late will not give 2 points. The guy explained to one sister that first, in the future, if they want to say something, they first need to ask this permission, otherwise they will lose the point. Secondly, of course, this is all a task, so you need to change clothes. And tasks are not sent, and should last unnoticed, and blend in with the crowd. Yao's sister thought it was cowardly, and it was not necessary to reprimand in such a tone. Xin the guy, can she choose clothes made of coarse fabric or linen? The guy got angry and raised his tone, and he just said that you first need to ask permission before speaking, and the girl will be taken off the ball, and 2, if she doesn't remember about it next time. The girl was embarrassed, and now she felt like she was being reprimanded somehow. Since childhood, even her father had never disciplined her like this. It was a strange feeling for her. Permission girl. After a positive answer, she asked if you could choose clothes made from coarse fabric or linen. She has neither one nor the other, and she doesn't really want to deal with strangers. The guy said that the most important thing is that they blend in with the crowd, and most people living outside can only afford to wear rough fabrics. If they are dressed too smartly, they will attract attention. The twins also decided to ask too. They asked if any style of fabric would work, and if they should wear straw sandals, and if they should wear a straw hat. Ran said that next time they should ask one by one, they should be advised to wear the most common style, namely clothes. She has her own plans for shoes and basic attire, so they should get started. The guy sat and drank tea. He understood that he wanted beautiful girls, dangerous and difficult to lead, but the clothes should cover their striking beauty. The girls came and they looked very beautiful. The guy was in shock, but now he actually understood what is called natural beauty, and he did not understand how to hide such things. The guy thanked the girls for coming on time, and he also asked me to wear something that would work. The guy noticed that it was a very hot time now. Therefore, he prepared an anti-overheating remedy for them. Xin was the first to put on her hat, and a blue aura appeared around her. It was a cover-up formation, which went smoothly according to plan, just as the guy himself wanted. The twins asked permission to answer the question. The first twin asked what that just happened. Ran was surprised that the girls had never seen this before. It was a fabric to protect the heat. The guy understood that the life of these girls really is on a different dimension than that of other inhabitants. Then he simply asked them to put it on their faces and they would understand everything. The girls put it on and noticed that there was a really pleasant smell. When she was given permission, she asked what the smell was on the fabric. The guy said that it was his infusion, which was made from 100 flowers, an aroma that helps refresh their mind. The man said that this honey is a tonic for blood vessels and qi, as well as a cosmetic product for the face. He will give the bottle to the person who can do their task best. The guys came to the forest. On the way, they met Brother Chin. This guy is responsible for running tests and making sure the scoring is fair. All the girls greeted the guy. Ran that this time he is accompanying the 5 older sisters, so he asked him for this test. Chin said that in the village in Longshan Township, there have recently been several cases of children visiting. In the village, she wrote to worry, so they are advised to send their way, and if they follow her. The guys came to the market, where groups were selling various goods, rice wheat apples and other products. One of the twins asked permission to speak. the man allowed, and then she said that she just wanted to sit in a bun with peas. The guy asked how much she would like. Then the guy asked if the others wanted it. They weren't against it either. Ran, how much does a bun cost? He was told that one bun is 1 coin, and one guy got 8 pieces. The elder sister realized that people around them did not notice them. She noticed something stuck in her older brother. But she didn't understand how she did it. She could forget that she still doesn't like him, and she doesn't like to steam on her either, so she'll let it off his hands for now. Not far from the guys, several people were sorting things out. They blamed the man who didn't pay the rent. The government wants rent in them, but men with small businesses cannot pay that much money. That's why they started beating him. One of the sisters wanted to intervene, and the guy had several options for action. The first prohibition was that he would rise and help the owner of the stall. Second, he will ask other varnish business owners about the original cause of the incident. And the third option is he will stay away from here. He reminded his sister that she should not move without his permission, but she reminded him that he was a disciple of the sect and he had to protect other people, or just justice. He reminded her that her teacher entrusted them to him to teach them how to do noble deeds and stand up for justice on the continent. Zin to her sister because she agreed with the guy. After all, they are new here and have little experience, so it is better to listen to the elder brother first. My sister noticed. The guy suggested going further, then the twins noticed that the brother was very different from the men the student had before. He had a complete desire to prove himself. The second is also the subject that she knows. He really looks like a weakling, or he's just hiding very well. Everyone there was really curious. The service was asked if there was anything left instead. He apologized to the wounded man. He was attentive, but said that there was still room left. And a heavenly room, an earthly room, a children's room, a small room, a modest room, a combination of sleeping beds, whatever your heart desires. The guy also had several options. The idea was that they would move into the heavenly room. The second option is to move into the earthly room, and the third is to move into the children's room. The guy himself said that a good harvest awaits him. Very little time has passed since they entered the mountains, and options have already appeared twice. Asked for 3 rooms. 2 more options appeared before the guy. Either he would now directly tell the servant to leave, or the second option would be to charge the service with 5 coins. I went with a different option. He gave him a coin. He thanked him. Many heroes were asked to say irritation. He allowed and noted that they might not ask anymore from this point on. The first twin asked if hotel rooms shouldn't be big, and the second asked the question, is this all punishment? After all, they may have screwed up somewhere. And the third asked what would happen if she didn't have a chest of drawers with a mirror in her room. Could she ask to bring one? Ran asked the girls if they ever went out into society. The first one said Zin. Her father did not allow her to go out alone and usually asked her older brother to accompany her when she left the house. The twins also replied that they usually traveled in a carriage driven by a servant, followed by a retinue of 30 or 50 people. The guy understood that young girls who had never been exposed to social influence. It was surprising that their teacher herself decided to find them an accompanying person, because this was a really difficult case. The girls are also wounded. Will experts be sent for them to secretly protect them when they go down the mountain? The girls replied that they shouldn't. Today, none of them said that they would go down the mountain. The guy understands that something will happen to these people. If this happens, then the families will definitely have problems with the clan, so the guy suggested eating buns. The sisters began to eat the buns, and one of the sisters suggested that Yao try it. But she didn't want to eat the buns bought by that cowardly brother. Then the guy noticed that to restore justice does not mean taking out his sword and killing their little sushi. She asked if doing noble deeds and standing up for justice means not seeing injustice along the way, drawing a sword and rushing to help. Ran then asked the girl if she understood what kind of people they were and how she was going to fight them on their territory and advised the whole. Well, the girl was just screaming at the guy, called it nonsense, and she explained it all by saying that he was simply afraid that she could answer for her actions if someone wanted to go against her, and let people try to do it. Ran explained that among the masters, there are people like her, Sister Fan, but there are also evil ones who oppress the people and work for the tigers. Then the guy asked the girl what she would do if these guys found and began to take revenge on her master, or worse, the great master. The guy asked the girl if she wanted to first find out who was behind those 3 people before striking, but she didn't want to listen to it. The guys understood that it seemed that she already understood a little, and all that could be done was to wait while she slowly accepted these facts. Already on the street, Ran saw a rare opportunity to go down the mountain and the system worked. Ran watched as one person wanted to buy juicy, fatty meat, It was immediately clear that he was not the first buyer here, and obviously this was not the first time I bought it. Then he told the seller that he would pay after he ate at the end of the month. The seller, of course, did not believe him because he had said this last month. Then 3 options appeared before the guy. The idea was that he would go and help the owner of the meat stall restore the rules. The second to strike from the shadows to give this mass a lesson. And the third one stays put. The guy chose the third option. Rand decided to approach the seller and asked him for a kilogram of pork. The seller sold his product into his hands. When the main character grabbed it, he immediately left and didn't even take the change with him. The pendant didn't understand because he was bewildered and gave them 30 Serebrennikov. Usually, he can remember the faces of his customers, but how it happened that he cared for his benefactor, he did not understand and considered that he had met without an immortal. This time is turbulent. That is, it is not easy to survive. Given the limitations of the system's capabilities, that's all he can do to help. 2 o'clock later, and today the system worked 10 times, which was quite a lot. When the guy wanted to go into the house, again he was faced with 3 options. The first was to return to the hotel and go to bed. The second thing is to go and once again instruct your sisters so that they do not disperse. And the third one is to approach the entrance to the hotel and observe secretly. The guys chose the third option, and I saw how Sister Fan decided to leave. The guy understood that this girl was a real time bomb. Already, he again had 3 options for action. The first was that he would drag her back to the hotel. The second one will make sure that the girl knew about his presence and return to her room, and a third of them follow her. The guy chose the third option. You should have heard the girl's voice screaming. I told the guy that I would scream if he continued to pester me. Then the sister herself stood up for the girl. She ordered the guy to retreat and took out her sword. Then the guy started running and told the girl to wait. He would return here soon. Immediately after this, the girl who was screaming called the manmaster and asked about the money. The girl shouted at her sister Fan that she shouldn't have interfered, and there is no need to thank her. She didn't understand how it was possible. She was kind enough to save her, but she turned and scolded her. She irritates her even more than this spineless brother. The girl suddenly felt a delicious aroma, and she went to the restaurant, where the girl did not understand how she could be distracted by such matters, and especially I would find that is, after all, she came to deal with their affairs. But then an old woman appeared who was not a little old. Her sister came up to her and asked if she needed help. The old lady asked the girl for some reason she wanted to help her. She was her relative. She thought that her sister wanted to take her money. Yao was surprised. The old woman said that her daughter-in-law wants her dead and feeds her scraps every day like a pig, and leaves her to sleep alone in the noble house at night when she knows that she has problems with her legs. She thinks she definitely wants her dead. Yao, that it's already a rhyme how such an evil person can exist in the world, so she offered to go together. She would go home with her to help her demand an explanation. The old lady explained that her daughter-in-law is known to be a very cruel woman in life, but the sister said that there was no need to worry. Her daughter-in-law wouldn't be able to do anything with this ball in her hands. The woman agreed with the girl's proposal. She believed that heaven had opened its eyes to this old woman, and that's why they sent her such a good, kind girl. The main character watched. He understood that the crying woman was still a common scam, and there were people who really fell for it. A sister knocked on the door and immediately began screaming at the woman who opened the door. The old woman began to give a secret signal. Therefore, the daughter-in-law began to say that the affairs of her mother and sister did not concern her. A young guy appeared and told the girl that she should go inside and not make any noise. My sister agreed with this. She wanted to go inside and talk. The roofs of the wounded house watched all this. I'm surprised that there is a hidden tiger in this city. There is no way a gang of crooks can have such a strong person in their ranks. Suddenly my sister felt weak in her legs. She remembered the words of her teacher, or rather the accompanying one, who told her that if she suddenly felt weakness in her legs for an hour, she should not think twice and use her last strength to avoid because with a 90% probability, they are under the influence of incense, so they should run away or be sentenced to death. The sister decided to run away, so she was able to run into the street and was met by a bandit. She of course tried to create a sword and hurt the guy, but they were able to outwit her and hit her right in the stomach. After which, I have no strength left to run. She didn't understand why this happened because she just wanted to help. The hero also has 3 options for events. Go downstairs and kill all the villains surrounding the girl, middle rank. The second option is to scream loudly to attract the night guards, middle rank. And finally, the third option is to save the girl without harming Fred to the villains. He understood that the third option looked the most difficult. It is always usually the best, so he had to think about how to make up for it. The guy who stabbed the girl ordered the others to create her. Just when the guy wanted to create a girl, a fire broke out in front of him. I didn't understand what was happening. The guys came to their senses after the explosion. The head of the gang ordered the guys not to do anything. Right now, the eldest, and respect for them, did nothing because if that were the case, they would already be dead. The head ordered not to go out for the next 2 days. He will return to the gang to check and find out which sect experts came to the city. The girl sat on the shoulders of her older brother. Of course, she was confused to say something. But the guy interrupted her and told her to be quiet, and there was no point in talking because she didn't feel like a senior. He would heal her as soon as they got to a safe place. What if she had listened to her older brother earlier? This would seem to be the case. Therefore, I asked him for forgiveness. Later, the girl woke up on her bed and hugged Zin. She started crying and then the main character entered the room. He asked for a hand. Why was the girl even embarrassed? After all, she had not noticed before that her brother was very handsome. The guy said that this is ordinary incense without any other toxic substances. This is a cleansing shower elixir that he takes for a long time. Well, she should take it and rest for a couple of hours, and then she will feel better. The girl thanked the guy and said that she was wrong. She should not have let a word fall on deaf ears and say such things about him. At this moment, the guy had 3 possible answers. The first one concluded that he would say that everything was fine, because everything is in the past. The older brother does not take it to heart. The second answer was that he would say that he was glad that she realized her mistake. Now she understands why with her older brother. And the third option was that he would answer her that there was no need to admit her guilt to him, because he appeared on time since he was already behind her, and the reason why he did not stop her was to make her feel this way. The guy chose the third option, and he told it all. Before leaving, he ordered her to take medicine, and 2 hours later, but no, he set off. Yao asked her sister if she was really that annoying. But Zin didn't understand what her sister was talking about, because she loved her more than anything in the world. The girl started crying again. She realized that she was really mistaken. And brother is right. These lands are really dangerous, but she clearly tried to help them, but they caused her suffering. Zin understood her sister and noticed that she learned well from her mistakes, so she suggested that her sister take the medicine first. Yao noted that her brother's medicine has a refreshing aroma and a much more pleasant taste. The girl was already lying down on the bed. She wondered how strong elder brother was, and the person she met today at least had Xuan power. But elder brother easily saved her. The girl fell asleep after that. The next day, the older brother asked the girl if the weakness had passed. She confirmed that there was no weakness. The medicine he gave her helped a lot. A man appeared and immediately approached the young gingerbread man who was renting out rooms. The man said that he was going to ask him something, and he should not talk about it. If someone found out about it, it would be very bad. He asked the first question if the members of the clan of outstanding behavior who had recently stayed here. The guy said that yesterday he only received 6 guests. All of them were wearing straw hats and left this morning. Then the man asked the guy how they took off. The guys, of course, tried to sell themselves on the fact that I don't remember what they looked like. The man threatened that he would punish the greenhouse if he did not answer correctly. Yes, I showed the guy the coins that were given to him in his birth. The man looked at them. There were treasures there. Sign. The next day, the guys were already standing in the clearing. Zin understood that she was clearly following the map, but she didn't understand why they were going wrong again. The other sisters also decided to look at her, but none of them understood them. Usually, they don't even have to look at the map when they go outside. They remembered how their elder brother ordered them that the rest of the plot depended on them. He brought them where they needed to go, and they didn't have to do the rest themselves. After all, reading a map and knowing the way around is a necessary skill they need to have in nature. The girls began to think about who would go to their older brother and what to ask their friend. Zin decided to approach. After all, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't take the world above to try to learn something. In fact, she wanted her brother to scold her again. The girl approached the guy, and she said that it is difficult to determine the direction where there are no official roads. He told us how to make it easier, because in fact, the best way to learn to read a map is to learn to draw it. If you understand how the map was compiled, it becomes clear where to go. The guy gave her a book from which she could understand how to draw her. After some time, they came to the village. We were very, very glad that they were able to do this. The twins were shocked by this book. Therefore, each of them wanted to buy it after they returned home. The girls asked their older brother what they should do next. He stated that they themselves should say what they think about it. Yao, first, you need to go to the village and ask around how all the children disappeared and find out when and where. The others agreed with her. Ran against this only with the help of this alone will frighten the snake. Considering the cases of missing children in villages now, it is likely that the culprit is still on the case or even hiding in the village. As soon as they start asking questions, they will definitely expose themselves. I admit this to her. The servants will naturally be much more careful and will even stop committing a crime. The girls understood what their brother was saying and it made sense, but they didn't know how to follow if they couldn't ask anyone. Brother, that there is no need to investigate. He just needs to wait for the next crime after all. There are masters here that he can sense. Already at night, a bandit stole a sleeping child. Our guys watched this. They were surprised that the guys actually committed a crime again. They should have gone after this guy. The bandit's lower aura disappeared, and even Ran was surprised. He suspected that it looked like they were in formation, so they should all be careful. Gemini understood that it was created by these thieves who steal children, which is why he was able to easily escape from the formation. Yao understood that since she was able to escape, and if they found the right path, they would be able to leave the formation. The brother praised the girl. I'm filling in the answer, and the girl was even embarrassed by this, because it turns out that the older brother can give a compliment. Before splitting up, the guy asked the girls to be careful. This courtyard actually created 9 yang formations hiding from the world, but it is not that big. When the guy took the stone and threw it, the trap activated, after which an explosion occurred. One of the girls began to scream from her older brother. She said that there was a trap that could have just killed her. The guy reassured her. And she said that everything was fine and she should just be careful. The trap wouldn't kill her. Ran took the object that made sounds, after which Yao was very frightened and asked her brother what had just happened, and he spoke as if nothing had happened and said in excuse that it excites the soul of the dead, because ghosts can ring a bell. This is probably true. The guy answered. The girl immediately began to pray and ask for a blessing. The guy started laughing because he thought that the girl was so afraid of ghosts. Well, the guy had 3 options for action. The first was that he would go and hug the girl to calm her down and not scare her. The second option was that he would tell her that there are no ghosts in this world. And third, make fun of the girl for being so timid. The guy decided to choose the third option, and he laughed with the girl that she was a coward. And before that, she saw herself as if she were brave. The 2 sisters began to discuss why each of them was going in different directions, and another one joined them. One of them said that she clearly chose a direction that was different from theirs, and for some reason they met in this very place. Why did you suddenly faint? The elder brother approached them. He understood that although the formation was not very powerful, it was enough for several sisters who had not yet reached a high enough cultivation level. But it didn't matter, he'll soon be able to destroy it anyway, so for now they just need to lie down. Ran to use his skill. He began to pray. The beautiful figure opened slightly, the true sap of the beautiful aroma of the world, and the light of endless spirits of treasures consults through. The guy noticed that the thief was quite rich. Although it was a low-quality golden spirit stone, it was not something that an ordinary person could afford. It became even more interesting. Xin clearly did not know how to fight the formation, but until now he managed to remain conscious thanks to his willpower. Could it be that she was born with a 3-yana body, and the contemplation sect found a treasure? The guy gave her something to eat. This pill I sing was amazing. Not only does it have a delicate taste, but it also stops her spiritual strength so quickly. The guy ordered her to go wake up the other sisters, and he will go find the others. The guy found the twins, but surprise did not fall even in one position when the guy took out a flask. She was able to wake them up. I advise he gave them pills. I decided to ask the girls. Brother, destroy the formation. He tried. He said that he didn't know how it was created. Then he thought that it couldn't hold people right away, so it collapsed on its own. The guys came to the rock. The guy suspected that there was a thief there, and inside they were no match for the girls. The girls ran inside and started fighting with them. When the elder brother went inside, he saw many people lying unconscious. Xin brought the leader. Ran ordered the rest of the girls to go tie up the other guys, and he himself wanted to be left alone with the head. The first thing the head said was that if the guy wants to kill him, then let him do it now. But the main character had no hurry. The head turned to the main character and said that if he was in any way, then he should be sent to the government for a reward, but there was no need to rush. The main character understood that usually when he passed the thieves, and if he asks a question first, and not usually keeps his mouth shut, but in this place he needs to give them time so that they themselves start the conversation. The main character praised the chapter, gang, because he was able to establish a formation. The main character asked the guy where he learned this, but the guy was not going to tell anything. The head of the gang asked what he got in return. He can tell the main character how he learned this. The main character said that he was interested in traps that couldn't even catch him. The gang leader said that it is only because he is not very good at this art that it is a trap called in the small soul suppression. If it was full, even the emperor might be trapped if he went inside. That's what it says in the book. The guy dug it up when he was clearing the tomb. It is very valuable, he can give it to him if he lets him go. But the main character replied that it was not interesting. Zin has arrived, who reported that all the fish were tied, and then the main character decided to leave. The driver finally said that the book contains really powerful spells. If he doesn't believe him, he can show it to the back of the hill, and it's true. The guy understood that this method was really tried and tested, of course. Such is the nature of man to rush and fight to save his life. The girl asked what they would do next, and she asked if they should be taken to the authorities. The guys told her that she didn't need to bother, and it's just that this is just the nearest city. Call the authorities, let the guards come and sort it out themselves. The main character asked the girl if she remembered where the city was located, to which she responded positively. He noticed that this girl had a good memory, but for some reason she couldn't remember what he was teaching her. It was somehow strange. He still ordered the rest to stay here and watch everything. After all, he will be back soon. Yao was asked to take care of the children. The bandit asked the main character how he knew where the children were, but the guy didn't want to answer this question because he didn't know why he should do it. The bandit was surprised because every person should brag about how smart he is when he hears such questions. For some reason, he did not declare such a thing, and for some reason this person always does not follow the known order. Then the head asked if the guy was interested in where he sold the other children. It turned out that this and the main character did not expect that the guys came up with a lie that would actually bring something. Again, there were 3 options for action. He will continue to dig under the guy. The guy's guard will tell you the second option. And the third option is to tell the sect about the guy. The guys, of course, chose the third option, because they gave a special skill point for this. Yao was surprised that the children were sent to a demonic sect, and she thought that they were starting to eat children there. But the main character rejected her suspicions. And for raising the next generation, if a family does not want to send their children to the organic section, then they take them themselves. Many things in this world are not as simple as they seem, and these things cannot be so easily divided. You just need to use the word good and evil. Prupper again had 3 options for action. Compliment the girl. The second option was that he would nod in support and tell her not to rush into learning. And the third option was that he would laugh at her and tell her that she was stupid. The guy chose the third option, and the girl started laughing. 3 options again appeared before the guy. He will console the girl and say that he was joking. The second option was that he would pat her on the head and tell her to learn everything gradually. And the third option is to answer that she understands her shortcomings, and this is a good skill. The guy also chose the third option. The main character was very happy because it was easy for this girl to get points. Behind them, the leader began to talk about things in this world that cannot be divided into good and evil. And also the head asked whether his brother would like to listen to his story. But he was told that this was not interesting, and it was better for him to save it for the courtroom. The guards led all the bandits out of the cave. One of the guards thanked Zin because this time the contemplation sect really turned out to be a useful point and did them a favor. And their gratitude, rather than setting the table for the heroines and asking them to do them a favor. Zin wanted to agree, but then Yao entered into a dialogue, who apologized and said that they had urgent matters, so they were forced to refuse. The guards will be upset because they noticed that the girls had a great figure and eyes. It's a pity that their faces were covered. Yao was asked why there was such a rush because the sister wanted to watch how to do her job. After all, it will be useful to know this future. And they answered that we shouldn't blame her. The older brother told her to do it. The elder brother told her that she should not mess with the guards, except for the matter itself, and she was no better than thieves. Zin as guards may be no different from thieves if they catch the strong and protect the weak. And they said that she would find out about it later, but in any case, they should just do what the main character says. Today the guys will not stay at a hotel but will set up camp in a clearing. The girls decided to make a bigger tent so they could all sleep together. An hour later, the girls were never able to make a ward. It's not right for Zin to ask his elder brother for advice, otherwise they will have to sleep on the ground all night. But one of the twins understood that this was not fair. They always send their sister to their older brother, and this time she wanted to go herself. Zin reluctantly agreed. After all, now she will not be able to receive the instructions of her brother's elder brother. Everyone sat together next to the fire. The main character said that if they have the opportunity in the future, he will teach them, and now the guys need to go to bed early, and at night he will keep order. As a result, the girls came to the ward that their older brother himself had installed. They understood that he was good at everything. They also understand that their brother broke the formation. After all, she was so strong, and it cannot be destroyed by itself. Xin noticed that she once heard the teacher say that it is much more difficult to destroy the leading formation than outside it. The twins also noticed that the brother is a student of the Blue Heart Hall, but those who are studying the formation are from the Starlaw Hall. Weaving, healing, alchemy, perfumery, pharmacy, cooking. Obviously he is so good. Well, for some reason the girls have never heard of him. The girls decided to just go to the guy and ask him directly. The guy had 3 options for action. First, he will ask why she is hungry and if she wants to have a snack. The second option is for the guy to bring her a low chair so that the girl can sit on it next to him. And the third option is to tell her that she really wants to train so much, she will have to train alone. After all, the guy has some things to do. The girl herself explained that she couldn't sleep, so she went out to support her brother as a form of training in the future. The guy told her the third option. Why does she want nerves? She will have to do it alone. It turns out that he has some things to do, so he has to go. The girl was upset, but it seemed to her that her brother didn't really love her. But she even likes how cold her brother is with her. The guy suddenly had 2 more options: leave immediately, or go to the sounds of a fight and help. The girls saw their brother start to run. He invited them to go too. The main character came to this place. He saw that the strongest is only the 3rd stage of training. The girls should have gone to break up the fight. 2 organizations. Yao was the first to defend the guys, after the bandits, who saw that it was a contemplation sect. They said they would be back soon. Another woman also appeared who introduced herself as Yue Anna, who gave her a gift for her help. Ran was able to catch the reverse dart, and I noticed that girls need to be more careful. After all, when they throw the enemy back, he gave it to him as a souvenir. The girl understood that if her brother did not understand him, she's afraid it might pierce her chest. Yue gave her an older brother, and that he repelled the attack of robbers. Well, the guy said to put aside the polite word because her companion was wounded. The girl opposite said that she felt fine, and don't worry. Ran was surprised. He had always heard that the Lanlin technique of the Yue clan is very effective in treating injuries, so he asked the girl if she could enlighten him. The girl stated that she was not a master of this art and had not perfected the technique. Therefore, he does not want to put himself in an awkward position. The guy hit himself on the head. He realized that this technique was not of the Yue clan, but of a sect. He apologized for his bad memory. Our guys realized that those who are now standing in front of them are actually imposters. Yue explained that they do not wish harm. They really are not sect disciples, but sometimes when they are away from home. Ran interrupted her and explained that he didn't need explanations. He could understand them. It was just a lesson for his younger sisters. Even if someone saves someone's life, don't assume that they won't cheat. Therefore, he believes this is worth stopping at. And we didn't meet until recently. And now that everything is okay with them, they are ready to leave first. Then the guy wanted to stop the wound and said that his real name is En, and he is a disciple of the Xueyan cult, and he is the son of a master of the Xueyan cult. His companion tried to stop him, but the guy didn't understand that brother ran. It wasn't difficult when people save their lives. They're just deceiving them. The twins asked their brother what kind of cult this was. He explained that it must be a demonic cult. The girls were also surprised because they had each heard that all members of the course had 3 eyes, full growth of sharp teeth, and also a long tongue. But the main character destroyed these legends. The people of the demonic cult are also human and do not have 3 heads or 6 arms. Yue hopes to his brother that now he understands why he constantly has difficulties and needs to hide. They answered him with understanding. But Ran wondered why brother Yue came to this city hiding his identity. Of course, if he is not comfortable answering, he can forget about his question. The guy decided to tell them that he was not going to lie to them. As the son of a cult master, he had high hopes for him. But when he was ready to study the inner teachings of the cult, he learned from the test about his weak yang body, so not only could he not start training, but had to study conventional martial arts for a long time. Later, his father became more disillusioned with him, and his 2 brothers gradually moved away from him, so much so that his brothers even mocked him as a disabled person in front of the parishioners. The main character understood him. He was born into a large family but without talent. His father is disappointed, and his brothers consider him already dead. But next to him there is a woman who is ready to go with her young master to the end. This is a pure protagonist pattern, so the system asked him to come here and help him. After all, he may be chosen by heaven, so maybe he can help him in the future. This means the guy came to a foreign country in order to build his career. He was going to impress all those who looked up to him. The main character understood that his point of view is normal. If someone looks at him from high, you should not kill this person. Either way, he is the son of a master of the demonic culture, and he speaks like a good disciple. Notice that even now he cannot defeat these village tramps, so he cannot build his career so easily. A companion interrupted the conversation, and she said that on that day they were passing through a field and saw that several tramps were mocking an old farmer. They took measures to teach them a lesson, but they called their comrades to ambush them halfway. If they had not intervened to wash, they don't even know the girl, how it would have ended. Rand didn't know if it was normal to teach a couple of tramps a lesson. And is it normal for demonic students to do this? Born to a demonic cult, but open and reading reviews in his affairs. Like a real model for the main character. Rand suspected that the guy's father was not as impersonal towards him as he thought. If he's not mistaken, this isn't the first time they've been attacked by a thief for helping others. And it was true. The main character asked the guy for the first time when they went so far. He spoke positively because they all grew up in the mountains, studied, and rarely went outside. And so the guys think that during their first trip, they learned about her and covered the entire path from Huainan to Zhengbei. Because they are capable of it, and not because they have some other protector. He was told that this is the third uncle. He is the only person in the entire cult who is still kind to him. He found out that he was cultivating empty. His father soon cooled off, and only the third uncle continued to support him. He not only trained him every evening, but also gave him a lot of herbs. But unfortunately, he was too hopeless and studied for a long time, never achieving results. But the third uncle never gave up. Usually, I swear, he failed to do something. He was ridiculed by the parishioners. The third uncle helped him teach him a lesson. The third uncle is his father's brother. He watched as a boy himself from childhood. He always took care of him and his mother, who, to put it mildly, was dragged into this matter because of him. Since he was hopeless in cultivation, his father eventually abandoned her too. 3 answer options appeared in front of the guy. Hint the guy to think carefully about why his uncle is so kind to him. The second option was that he would silently continue to listen to her. And the third option is to join and start uncle for being such a good person. The main character told the guy that it seems his uncle is a good person. And for some reason, I didn't complete the task. The system wants to say that he suspected something about his uncle. The main character said that he too cannot develop his body like guys, but he has uncles who always took care of him. Without him, the guy is afraid. He would be dead, and he thinks that everything has its own will. And fate always arranges it so that such a person will lead you in any case. Everyone is like that, so you shouldn't think too much about it. Finally, the guy got 1 point, and he exhaled easily. The sisters began to cry. They finally understood why his brother was so strong. After all, it was unknown that he had lost his useless body and could not cultivate at all. The guy noticed that it was not surprising that he felt sympathy for the main character. When I saw him, the fact that he asked whether he could be called an older brother. The guy had 3 options for action. He will agree with the guy. The second option is to change the topic of conversation. And the third option is to simply refuse. As I would expect from someone who has a protagonist template, a few phrases are enough to launch options with these beautiful sisters. He told me that he could not allow him to call himself an older brother. As he already said, not just a casual acquaintance. And he will give him one piece of advice. There is no need to trust someone whom he has only recently met, and when he does not even know his real name. The guy promised that he would definitely remember this advice. Well, their meeting with him is clearly fate. So the main character decided to give him one more piece of advice. You don't have to train to become stronger, but you can delve into hidden knowledge. He should try reading this. Maybe it will inspire him. The main character understood that this was the template of the main character. And so I decided to give him something to read from his pocket. He decided to leave behind a positive impression. In any case, sooner or later he will achieve success. You guys left, and then the twins asked for permission to question. The first thing I decided to do was find out from my brother, and he determined that they were a sect. The second asked why they went to save people from the demonic sect, and the third was interested in what the older brother gave to the guy, but he did not want to answer all these questions. Before the guys go back, he would like to tell them that they must remember 3 rules. First, they can talk about everything they taught, but not tell people that they were involved in it. Second, you should not recommend him to others as an accompanying person. And third, after everyone returns, they will each return to their school and will not see it again. Unless something like this happens. Xin was very embarrassed every time she was under the attached gaze of her older brother, and she became scared. But it was very nice. The guy himself was glad that his mental suppression gaze was really working well, but he also noted that he has no way of forcing them to submit. He just hopes that they respect each other well enough to end up just being acquaintances. So the guy hoped that the guys would remember these 3 rules of sadness, and upon their return, they would abide by them. The guys returned to the sect. Then the main character asked the guys to return to him all the things that he gave them, a straw hat, shoes, and other things. Also, after they returned the things, he recalled that before he said that he would give awards, then that time they all did much better than he expected, especially Xin. She has been a great captain the whole way, and has been very positive when faced with a challenge, which is a rare quality that he hopes he can keep us with. The girl understood that her older brother had lost weight, but for some reason she was not happy. The guy said he was going to go to the law and order hall alone, and they could come back. After this, the score will be sent to their Mao, and also the main character hopes that they can adhere to the 3 rules. The girls understood that if you follow these 3 rules, the guy clearly didn't know them. However, whether they do this or not, the elder brother will no longer have anything to do with it. Personally, Yao did not thank the guy personally. The main character came with a report to Brother Qin. The guy said that he found out that the disappearance from the village is connected with Xu Lojai, and he thinks that they may make their move in the near future. But the guy was given special control in the air. He was very happy because these skills are difficult to acquire. The main character understood that before the sector could check in, she needed to get some more useful things. The guy began to test his new one. He noticed that they are really powerful, just 1 point, and his ability to control himself in the air becomes much stronger. Since that thief told him that the SEC secret book is in the back of the mountain, it would be disrespectful of him not come. The humidity in this forest is quite high, and the grass here was obviously much darker than other places. This must be the path that was made for it. A tiger appeared behind the guy, but the main character tried to scare him, so that he doesn't interfere with him. But the tiger simply rushed at the guy. But in a moment he became quiet and peaceful. Usually a tiger should sneak up behind you and wait for an opportunity to attack, but this one doesn't seem to be a little stupid. The tiger was able to point to the tree where the book was. The guy was faced with 2 options: start digging right away, or prepare what to do with digging. The guy certainly didn't expect this, and he understood that it was better not to underestimate any cultivator. However, now it became clear to him why he told him everything so simply. He wanted to lure him into a trap. He should be more careful in the future. The guy used potions and gloves and a mask and poured the potion on the ground. A centipede came out of there. He took it and stuffed it into a jar. It was not bad because he found such a trophy. Then he dug up the box, and the guy understood that once the task had already been completed, there were no more dangers. He opened the drawer and saw a book. The guy started reading the book. It seemed like something was written, but nothing was clear. He would have to go back and calmly start to disassemble it all in order to understand it correctly. After that, the guy spent the whole night trying to understand the formations and the water heart. He forgot to go and testify to his almost not in front of the head of the Chung Hall. Arriving inside the house, the old man grabbed him and shoved him behind the table. He wanted to play a game with him. The old man wanted to play the game, but the main character showed it to them and asked them to play for the Black Stones. But he spoke negatively. He wanted to play for the Black Stones himself. According to the guy, if someone says that they want to play for the Black Stones, this is a sign of respect. The guy started playing. The main character noticed that the stones in this game on the board are a real treasure, and even when someone plays against each other, their minds remain clear. The head also noticed that the guy knows his stuff and is truly an entrance treasure. Also, the treasure is only considered extremely good, but does not reach the rank of Tian. And after all, rank Huang is a magical treasure that already has a spiritual nature, and is even used by small sets as a new treasure. When the guy first acquired the system, there were treasures with the rank of Huang on the list, so it is not surprising that the task turned out to be terribly difficult. Now that he thinks about it, it's really regrettable. The system didn't even say anything, and it's so cruel. The old man noticed that the guy had been a registered student without a teacher for 5 years, so he could become his teacher. The guy reminded the head of the hall that he had no talent for playing. It was enough for him to just play calmly like that. Although the system does not give this quickly, he learned that he was from the 24 halls of the Contemplation sect when he first joined the sect, and the Blue Heart Hall in which he plays the game came to his liking the most. After all, having previously gained a few skill points in the game, one cannot afford to waste talent. One day, 3 options popped up in front of the guy. Defeat your opponent with ease. The second option is to give yourself a little freedom, that is, with the lease, suffering a crushing defeat. It didn't matter whether the guy won or lost. The system just didn't want him to practice. In the end, the guy entered the Blue Heart Hall because of his level of playing the game. But since he cannot cultivate, he has never been able to find a master, which he believes is the goal of the system. In this world of martial arts, His skills are the most important thing, and a talent like playing a game is just the icing on the cake. This way, he would become a target and could remain in the contemplation sect, and this was a convenient option. In any case, he just goes his own way, and as long as he continues to look for opportunities from the day the system was launched and gains skill points, sooner or later his time will come. The main character noticed that there are 50 white stones left on the board, and there are also 16 scattered and black stones. The total is 66. After counting the remaining 5 stones, White gave away 2 stones. The head of the hall won with his 3 stones. The head noticed that he could hold 17 and 17 in his hand, but the guy didn't have enough determination to do it. He stated that he thought he could fend off the leader's attack by resetting his position. Although he couldn't save the dragon, he caught it off guard with his increased pace. It was truly powerful. The old man noticed that it was interesting to play the game with the guy. He understood where he was losing, unlike other idiots. The guys decided to shit another game sometime later. The main character noticed that the head of the hall was such a diverse person that it took his breath away. He asked the head of the hall to allow him to retire for a month to study the chapter's instructions. The old man agreed to go with this, so he gave his permission. This will give the guy enough time to explore his new acquired treasure. Another gym master came to the guys. He asked the head to take a break for a while and come with him. The 2 men were surprised because the written rules of the Blue Heart Boot Hall are not about the life and death of a person. The game is false to be over. So the man's face is just what happened. Another hall master directly told the guy to finish his game later, and followed him. 3 options appeared before the guy. The first was that he would continue to make excuses. The second was that he would ask the head for help, and he agrees with the hall master. The guys came to the teacher, who personally asked to bring her the main character. She asked the hall master about this. The hall master tried in every way to suck up to the girl. The main character did not understand how this was possible. His clothes are graceful and talented master of the hall, a starball into his heart. The main character approached the woman and greeted her. The teacher noticed that the guy was hiding in the blue heart as soon as he returned, and she suspected that it was because of her. The guy again had answer options. The first is to say that he could not do such a thing, and the second was forbidden because he suddenly began to receive inspiration and decided to continue improving his skills in the game. And the third option is for the woman to agree with everything as she said. After the third option, the master got angry with the main character. He didn't understand how he could say that. And is he ready for the consequences? The master explained that it was his fault, that he didn't train him strictly. Discipline. The woman asked to become 2 of them. The teacher also explained that the girls told her about everything that happened on their way, and they did a great job, so she thanked the guy. But he rejected her so decisively. Of course, she understands everything, and his maturity slightly exceeds his years. It is not that men have ideals and similar views on life, but also that he stands firmly on his chosen path. He should not worry, and she will no longer impose her ideas on him. The main character thanked the woman. Her understanding and these words will win over his heart. The guy is surprised that it ended quite unexpectedly. He feels relieved that she won't pester him anymore. On the street, a woman turned to the hallmaster and said that today she had to disturb the hallmaster and thanked him for it. He responded by saying that she was too kind. The woman also noticed that the main character is a good student, and it looks like they teach well in the Blue Heart Hall. She has things to do today, so she needs to go and come back next time to ask the hallmaster for advice. Later, the main character met again the master of the hall, who was very joyful. But after he saw the wound, his face changed. He noticed that the guy did a good job. This time, he gave the hall a blue heart to boast about, and this is his merit. The woman has a good impression of him, and the guy should get to know her better when he has the opportunity and invite her here. The master means that you need to get along with other halls. In a cafe where a man decided to find out from the Dalen who was pouring the drink. Did the guy set up the nets? He said that he could not obey his master. All the troops were scattered under, and Vova's coding, and no one was left aside. The student decided to find out from his master what these people had done, and why such a fuss. After all, the student heard that Boss Gu was in trouble. He was told that he was the 8th rank, and it was not a blind person who rushed to check the enemy otherwise. It would have ended badly. At the end, a third person came in, calling for the master because the brother had just announced a new one. That 6 people entered the city. They all share the same features that were described earlier. But these were the people they were looking for. Our boy appeared. Previously, they had no choice but to break up, but now they are finally all together. You should be more careful in future. The companion noticed that she did not like the straw hat. But the boy noticed that Rand's brother was very experienced, and he still wore this hat. This means that it should be useful, and not just be too noticeable on this journey, and therefore cause so many problems, so you should be more careful in the future. The two guys saw a crowd that included 6 men, and all were wearing straw hats and straw shoes, and the women were very beautiful. The men were holding a copper coin, which the guys had previously used to buy vegetables, he said. The man really understood that this was a sanbao coin and there was no mistake in this. So the man ordered his assistant to go and find some people and do something around. Then our guys sat down at the same table and there was trouble all around. Some bandits beat the seller and they destroyed his store. The girl didn't understand why this was happening to them. After all, they have so many problems along the way, and they have to hold on, pull. But this is a situation that she really cannot survive. But the guys understood that if Uncle really sent someone to watch them, and it seems there is nothing wrong with taking care of it. Therefore, he ordered his companion to go and help the guys. The girl called the bandits away. They didn't understand how the media girl should interfere in this. It was too disrespectful towards their gang. They think that since their master's defeated, their gang can be stopped so easily. That's why the guys invited even more people. An attack was launched on a group of people, but another person also appeared who decided to help Gu, and he thanked the unknown master. He said that there were no problems, and his name was Tsang, and he was also glad to meet you. The bandits knew who this person was. It was the Heavenly Sword, the most popular young disciple of the sect, and for some reason, he is here for unknown reasons. But it was strange, he looked a little familiar. The Hall of Bandits saw the man as someone familiar. He recognized him as the third son of the head of the Shuian cult. He saw him at the last Lion March, and it is impossible to confuse him. The deputy head suspected that someone was not confident in them, wanted to use the third son to get rid of them, or maybe he just wanted to remind them of his presence. Otherwise, why did he make such a stupid decision? The man understood that there was no need to do anything now, as long as he came to them on his own initiative. As for this third son, he ordered his assistant to send several smart guys to guard him, and let nothing happen on their land. The companion herself turned to Gu with the question of why he was studying this for several days in a row, and indeed this book is so interesting. The guy told her that this is not only interesting, but also very impressive. He will meet his brother again someday, and he should thank him properly. The third uncle once told him that when he goes out into the street, there will be terrible people, perhaps his brother one of them. The girl really understood that since then they had not met. This brother's fate seems to have changed, and she's pleased to hear it. The main character heard the bell to convene the students, but he decided not to go because he was in solitude anyway. After all, now it will be better to refine the poisonous insect pill in this furnace. So it turned out that his elder brother and the others returned. They say that the one he wants to kill will not be able to escape even if he hides among 10,000 people, because he is already in the field of view of the Lord of Hell. He informed the rest of the students that 2 students had achieved success. One of them, Lin, a student, excelled in calligraphy and fighting art competitions, and the student even took first place in the tournament. Disciple Yan was hiding from the others. She was looking for her brother. She understood that her brother most likely went on another walk in the mountains. Then I decided to wait for him at the entrance. The student also looked for his brother, but when he arrived he saw fog. The boy decided to start reading the positive and negative information of the 4 elements that his older brother gave him. So this time, he decided to try to destroy it himself, thereby showing his brother his success. But at one moment, the guy felt that it was the smell of smoking candles. Without panicking, he understood that he first needed to study the formation. Fingers and wrist are free, skill is in tune with the soul, lines are respected, loops are tightened, and the focus is transferred to the senses. He held his breath and created the seals. He said that the formation is approaching order, and 9 kinds of heaven are round, and the earth is square, 4 seasons and 5 elements, green, red, white, and yellow, the 8 palaces of the great tripod. With 4 signs changing directions of movement are the formation of the heavenly wind and the northern rain, where life is and where death is. And he realized that Ilyuka in the west could follow the points of the Big Dipper and go out. But sometime later the guy still got lost. He didn't understand how long it had taken him to get out of the information, and he still hadn't left. He understood that his older brother was too strong. Suddenly a swordsman appeared, who decided to attack the guy. The guy came across him like this several times, but the enemy did not show it. Sometime later the guy woke up in bed and the main character sat down next to him. The main character explained to him that if he couldn't cope, then he needed to call for help. If he hadn't come quickly, he would have been killed there. Therefore, the main character allowed him to swallow the poison of someone to penetrate his body. The main character was glad because he finally got a good younger brother, to whom the system did not pay attention, because he quietly wanted to teach him too. In the sect, contemplation was corrected, a salad about which every 2 months you have to go down the mountain to pass the tests. One of the reasons for this rule is to make sure that disciples don't stay on the mountain all day long and don't know anything about the ordinary human world other than cultivation. But there is another reason to increase the rotation of the contemplation section in this area, in order to create a name for yourself through good deeds and helping nearby residents, while at the same time creating an image. And 4 years ago, he was leading a group down a mountain, and the cute little sister on the team confessed her love in front of the other 3. He was full of bewilderment, and then he realized that in order to survive, he needed to stay away from beautiful girls. Is there an option to give my consent to my younger sister? The second option is that the elder sister and Musya are now busy cultivating. And the third option is that he does not perceive her as a girl, and she is only like a younger sister to him. And no more. 3 brothers wanted to fight a duel for their sister. The guys thought that there was nothing to be done. This was a misunderstanding of nothing other than physical persuasion. One of the guys was his brother, who noticed that his sister loves his brother for his secret and strength. He offended him today, so he asked for transformation. If he needs anything in the future, let the main character just let him know. He did what he could. The main character noticed that this was just an exchange of experience between brothers and sisters. He had nothing to be offended by, but the guy needed to listen. There are a lot of fish in the sea, and there will still be many opportunities ahead. The main character also asked her to tell her about his strength. The boy promised that no one would know about this. He admires him and swears that he will never reveal the power of his brother. As one of the many people who know his powers, this little brother is still reliable. Although the main character seemed to care about him, he later attacked and poisoned him, which led to the failure of the mission and 3 months of bed, and Van somehow died to a friend in his hometown. Thus, the main character better understood the dangers of high-altitude tasks, barriers, as well as the lower moral limit of cultivators, and gained the return of his younger brother. Then the younger brother informed the main character that he had won the competition among the sects of the area, and he was here to tell him this with joy. Now the main character understood why the younger brother decided to break into the formation. But the orange boy mainly wanted to show his brother his strength. Rand decided to give the guy something. This is to remove toxins. Whenever he eats, this tea will immediately flush him out. And the guy should not forget to drink a cup after each meal when he returns. Since he took first place in the competition, he will certainly be given more resources, and some people will inevitably be jealous. Luo Bei from the True Battle Hall took first place in the test not so long ago and is now lying in bed, paralyzed. Also, the main character gave a steam dart without a shadow, which he used some time ago. It is invisible and silent. Then the elder brother ordered the boy to sit down and tell him what was new at the meeting. He said that at this competition he met a master named Zhou Guizan. If he hadn't taught him how to fight fast opponents, he would have nearly failed. And at the cultivation level, he is on par with his younger brother. The main character understood at least at the beginning of cooperation, but later he began to consider him a real younger brother. Over the past 4 years, the guy took a lot of pills from him, so quickly improved his cultivation, and this master is on the same level with him. Perhaps he is the key genius in training his sect and should be on his guard. Moon Hero asked his younger brother to continue observing and let him know that if a rank 3 horse beast appeared, he would give him a formation that would help him break through, and also gave him the material that he should find for him next month. But before leaving, the boy said that she had an unpleasant request. But it's not a matter of whether to say it or not. Then the main character said that there is no point in talking then. The boy wanted to try out his fighting skills. Well, when the guy threw a blow, the hero was able to stop it with 2 fingers, and he said it was too slow. The guy praised the boy, and she said that it was a good technique, but he was simply too slow and it would be more effective to throw darts while attacking with the ball. When the main character asked the guy how long he had been training, the boy simply decided to run away and said that he would train 800 more times, and finally, he is a hero, rightly so. Be careful not to wander into the formation again on the way, otherwise he will take off his monthly allowance of pills. The main character has already decided to return. And I saw the girl herself, who had just returned from the Van district, brought veneers for her brother, which she left in her usual place. When the guy opened the box, he saw a mushroom of 9 generations, and the girl was delighted. Her brother told her 4 words today, and he even took out a gift, which he encouraged him in front of him, so that she read that this was mutual love. And she understood that 4 years of observation were not in vain. The brother is reserved, and it is impossible to approach him when there are 0 people around. But even such a reserved relationship stood, because this is the elder brother. One of the moments the elder brother is in a good mood between 1 and 3 a.m., she should make a note about this. The main character knocked on the hallmaster's door, but one moment the guy noticed a bowl that reminded him of something. He immediately remembered the teacher, who sang tea from her. The guy understood that he couldn't do that, but he didn't show it, and thanked him for the cup of tea from the master. The master asked the guy how the job he asked him to do last time was going. The guy said that he doesn't know what to say when he so recklessly goes to protect her Yu. Last time the guys discussed how they will deepen the relationship between the two halls and develop together. They are studying the art of playing Go, and the water mirror is studying music, so the main character did not understand what they should develop together. The master replied that he could not do it calmly, he did everything with subtlety. There will always be something in common, and maybe it will be suitable with sparring art. After all, the main character himself wanted, according to the master, last time to apply for another place for training. If he does this, he will allow them to train elsewhere. The main character understood that the master was using his power evilly. No matter how much he wants it, it is too dangerous. A meeting between the sisters and the hall of the water mirror, which will cause a task for each of their steps. 3 answer options appeared in front of the guy again. Some reject your master. Use compulsion poison to change the subject. And the third option is to satisfy the master's request. Then the guy said that the student did as he asked the master. There was already a water mirror in the hall. Xin played a musical instrument. There were a lot of guys around who watched her and admired her. Her song was really amazing, and the larger strings sound loud like rain, and the small strings sound like a whisper. The girl deliberately played several wrong notes, but no one recognized or pointed them out. If there had been a brother, he would have given her a stern and dissatisfied look, and said that she was clumsy. But it's obvious that she should be upset, but for some reason her heart beats so fast just thinking about him, she really wants him to appear. The twins appeared and reported that they had seen their brother come to the hall of the water mirror. The girls discussed whether they should go there, and whether this could be considered a meeting. So they decided to go there. The main character introduced himself that he was a disciple of the Blue Heart. He was here to see the protector Yu, and asked to tell her this. The assistant showed the line of other students who wanted to meet with Yu. Not the same as the main characters, but he understood that when the upper shelf of the sun, the lower one is also excluded, it is not surprising that male students are ready to kill for the sake of their beautiful sisters. Everything is their legacy. And he didn't understand how many men come to one girl in this sect. But it was even good, because there are so many people waiting, I think that they won't be able to see her. And when he returns in the evening, he will tell the master that he could not meet with anyone. He will not blame him for this, the guy thought. Then the woman herself called him back. The girl was very surprised that this student wanted to find her, and the guy had 2 options for action. Tell her that he better get in line, and also the second option is to follow the girl. The guy chose the second option. When the guys were left alone, the main character said that the student was asking for forgiveness. He just fell asleep with an unanswered aroma, and was thinking a little. The woman asked if the guy could identify any specific one of the many plants and flowers in this mirror garden. The main character said that he also grows flowers in his garden when she has free time. So it's difficult, but it can differentiate. Well, women also heard from the master that the guy is interested in calligraphy and painting. The main character understood that the plants were selling quickly, but in the end, he doesn't get too carried away with it. He simply spoke about several talents that no one was interested in. I realized that he needed to stick to the bar. Then he said that he just happened to do this by accident, and there's no point even talking about it. He came here because he received an order from the hallmaster. They hope that their relationship will deepen towards mutual understanding. But the woman was also perplexed, because they did not specialize in the game, and they didn't understand how they could cooperate and live together. Then the main character gave up and said that he would inform this master. But I decided to leave. The woman stopped him. She didn't understand how he could leave so easily, and he won't even try to challenge it. The main character of the story, what the woman said was really so reasonable that it didn't even occur to him to say anything. In the end, the woman understood that it was about sophistication, and she always has something in common. And they will also be able to learn about each other's arts, that's normal. The technique is a dream, and because of the autumn heart, it is worthy of study. The main character asked in his thoughts that the woman would quickly marry his hallmaster. After all, they think alike. The woman also noticed that in all the years of interruption, this is the most special guy from the protector in the contemplation sect. Although he has little talent, he is positive and optimistic, trying to find an opportunity to test himself. Therefore, the woman hopes that if he is the organizer, then everyone will give in to his influence, and thus become just as positive and optimistic. Although she said it, but of course the decision is not hers, she must turn to the master of the hall. A woman, for her kindness, but he has already been in the contemplation sect for 5 years, and occupying that without a sufficiently high level of skill, occupying a position that is unworthy, and one can only personally suffer death. Therefore, the hero asked permission to search for the source of this scent, and would like to know if the girl could go with him. The main character understood that this victory was played out well. Now he can see the right, and the woman is no longer holding him in a short photo, and has also offered her patronage. It was not bad. I killed 3 birds with 1 stone at once. The woman offered to show her hallmaster. The system didn't say anything to the guy, so he agreed. Defender Yu asked the guy what he felt especially in the format he received. The answer she received was misunderstanding. After all, the guy himself didn't feel anything like that. He's just curious, and this aroma, which he's never felt before, makes it surprisingly interesting. When the main character came to the master in front of the entrance, 3 options popped up in front. The first was that he would look back, the second was that he took a step forward, and the third option stands still. A woman came up behind the guy, which touched his shoulder and thereby frightened him. It was the hallmaster. Yu introduced the guy, and she said that he was from a blue heart. Although the main character had heard about the master of the water mirror hall, and that she was an amazing person, he never thought that she could be so amazing. Yes, the master asked the guy what he wanted to know. He said that as a student he expresses his respect to Master Shai, and when he first entered the Garden of Mirrors, he felt an unusual aroma and came here in search of it. The woman said that they would go and look together right now. If the guys describe him well, then she drives him. The guy described it as if it was an exotic scent, but not too strong, but at the same time persistent, with a citrus note and a slight hint of orchid. The woman was surprised and said that this was very impressive. He could so accurately describe the aroma of Terry Narcissus among these hundreds of flowers. One girl noticed that the brother was simply amazing because floral scents can replace or conflict with each other. And in the mirror garden there are many flowers and plants. The smells are so mixed erotically that the ability to distinguish the aromas within him in such a situation is really impressive. A little later, the main character was asked to look at a pot of fern, because the hallmaster said that it was a little lethargic and asked the guy to look at it. The guys wondered if there was spirituality in the plant or not, but it depended on the little things. This plant comes in different sizes, and it is precisely the disordered pattern that indicates that it is internally at odds with itself, or so that it grows well but to cut out the heart of the wine. The branches of this gingerbread tree will fly out strong, but in reality they are very fragile. You need to be careful not to damage the inside when collecting the core. And therefore he is a hero and guarantees that in less than 2 months the master's fern will bloom. Water moment, the main character accidentally looked at the woman's breasts, and he immediately turned away. She asked why she was turning her face away, and he said that it would be indecent to continue looking, which made the women laugh, and she noticed that he was more interesting than the old bores who want to look, but are afraid to do so. Then the hallmaster asked Yu Diana found this baby, and they answered that instead of finding him, they had to dig very deep, to which he indignantly buried himself in the dirt all day. Okay, the hero asked the hallmaster if she could take him to the Terry Narcissus and was very curious. Still, the woman said that she would take him inside, since the guy spoke correctly to her question. The guys went inside, and inside there were many exotic plants, some of which he had only seen in books, and these are huge funds. The guys were surprised when the woman said that all the flowers were given to her by other people, although the main character was shocked by this information. But he remembered how people suck up to you, so he didn't think anything about the master. With so many suitors, he thinks all she has to do is show that she loves flowers, and there will be flowers everywhere. The woman asked if the guy thought that these flowers were wasted. He said that not quite. Flowers are meant to be enjoyed, since they are liked by the audience. Their value is preserved, and they are not considered a waste. The woman noticed that the guy was eloquent. The double daffodil he is looking for is in the room. This is exactly the flower that suited the guy for the potions he has been working on lately. The hallmaster told the guy the good news, that if he likes him very much, he can take him with him. But the woman had 2 conditions. One of them, she hopes that he will come and take care of flowers and plants for her in the future. But the hero understood that these conditions simply suggested themselves. Besides the Terry Narcissus, there are several more circles with flowers that he needs, so if it grows well, then naturally the seeds will turn out. The second condition is that he needs to defeat her in an alcoholic battle. If he wants to get this double daffodil, he must defeat her in a duel. Otherwise, he may not even think about it. The rules were simple. Whoever gets drunk first loses. The guys came into the garden. The main character understood that he was in a difficult situation. Even though the girl smoked, drank, and got tattoos, she was still a good gym master. The main characters noticed that the master of the hall was really a complete newbie in this matter. The daughter's last move was terrible. If she hadn't brought the wine herself, he would have thought that she just decided to get drunk at someone else's expense. Then the girl asked for another jug of wine and gave the guy 3 options. Help convince the woman to end it there. The second option is to quickly get the girl drunk, and the third is to delay the game. Later, the girl was completely drunk, and the guy got his glasses. The main character invited the woman to finish here, but she didn't want to leave. But the hallmaster didn't really want to leave, and said that no one would bother her today. The future girl was drunk, and used the technique surrounding the phoenix. 2 girls started to fight, so that the main character can escape. But one moment. The hallmaster passed out. She's just drunk and sleeping. The twins suggested that the other sisters should go to their older brother and pretend as if they had met by chance. The rest of the twins were for it too. Zin said to forget about it because probably his older brother and other sister said that it was time for the guys to go to class. The main character asked Yu for forgiveness because he was not going to stay here any longer. But the girl stopped him and said that usually the master of the hall is not like that. The guy had 2 options for action. He continued listening to the girl, and the second option, he will tell her that he leaves the rest to her and this student needs to go. The guy chose the second option. The student turned to Mumu with a request to return together, and Mumu agreed, after which the student herself even smiled and noticed that her smile was healing. Mumu approached the younger uni students. I asked how they were doing, the girl was the first to say. She thanked Mumu for being their chaperone and gave them all high marks. This girl decided to give a token of gratitude from several of them. The girl replied that the guys, well done. They are much more resourceful than during their first test. But Mumu understood that this was all thanks to her older brother. Once upon a time, one of the students ate mushrooms and his brother saved his life. And everything is possible, and small details that warm the heart, which he called them beautifully even without. It was thanks to her older brother that the girl felt completely safe. From the girl's memories, she was beaten by a student who asked if she should listen to her master. Mumu said that a lot of good memories suddenly came flooding back to her, and she thought a little. When Mumu opened the box, she saw a pearl. Existence didn't notice that she could improve the surrounding aura, just by being in the house. It turns the room into a rich aura and a place for practice. This is quite a rare treasure. Mumu noticed that in fact, she liked the snacks that her sister prepared last time more than the cultivation items. So Mumu asked to change it. The next day, the protector Yu appeared again right in front of the hero. The girl said that the head wanted to see the guy. The guys understood what and why the head of the hall still couldn't calm down. Couldn't she live in peace for a few days? Yu, isn't he interested in what happened after he left? The woman knew whether to tell the guy that he was very cunning or that he simply had no desires or aspirations. The woman asked, and the rest of the sect looked into the eyes of the main character. He stated negatively that the entire continent poses a danger to him. The woman understood that he was right. The section rules according to which students must go down the mountain every month, aimed at developing this awareness among students. The sisters whom he accompanied were simple-minded and were very calm about their trials, and at the right time she met him. This is also a kind of fate. The guys came to the mala again. The first thing the women did was ask the guy why he didn't take the daffodil. Also, the hallmaster yesterday heard from her assistant that she was the first to get drunk, so she allowed the guy to pick him up. The head of the hall asked her assistant why she was sitting here. After all, she understood perfectly well that she had to go around the Golden U today, and replied that this was for the protector of the sun, so she would be here until the end of the day. Then the hallmaster began to communicate with the main character through mental connections, and asked him to figure out how to convince Yu to go with him to play yesterday's game. The guys were silent, and the girl thought that he simply did not know how to communicate his son's thoughts. Then I decided to tell him, but he interrupted her. And Yu said out loud that the head of the hall said that he wanted to continue what happened yesterday, so she hopes that Yu can refrain from interfering. The main character understood that these girls were a pain in the ass. It was easier for him to easily get the seeds. The hero was taking care of the flowers. The guy understood that he was a double daffodil growing well. In a couple of days it was worth approving again. The popular haze would soon gather dust, so it was worth bringing it tomorrow. And it's very good. The wavy guest has already grown up, so she must learn to absorb the aura herself. The main character took out the scolopendra. He began to communicate with him about how he made a good environment for the scolopendra and generally treats him well. This pen was better tuned than the guy thought. It seemed that he did not have much love for his past owner. Well, alas, there was still not enough space, especially after he brought flower seeds from the head of me batch of cuties who will be sent soon. He sees that the aura in this courtyard is a little insufficient to share it. I understood that there will always be a way out. They will wait and see, and then they will see. Later, his master called the hero to you. When the main character entered the hall, the master immediately began to leave him. He always believed that his student would be able to do this. After all, you agreed to cooperate. The master decided to find out from his student for some reason he didn't tell earlier. He had been worried about him for the last 2 days. As the master promised, he gives the park a plot of land, deep in the hill, and there will be more aura there than what he has now. As the main character expected, his problem was solved by itself. Just 2 days ago, he suffered due to lack of space. Today, there is already a better place on his doorstep. The master also noticed that the guy should be more attentive to this issue in the future, since it was he who made this cooperation possible. You told her students that today they finished all their lessons. In 3 days, they will have a social Blue Heart martial arts match. The woman also hopes that everyone will behave well at this time, so as not to disgrace the Water Mirror Hall. The woman also explained that the reason for this friendly match is that the hall is interested in cooperation with the Blue Heart Hall in order to develop and learn from each other. Gemini, you understand that it is a big coincidence that out of all the halls of the clan, the Hall of the Blue Heart was chosen for joint work, and this is fate. Now they will finally be able to openly meet their older brother. Zin believed that they needed to hold a small meeting, nicknamed Go to the Blue Heart Hall. They need to discuss what they need to do when they go to meet their brother. Each of the girls distributed the work among themselves, and in the evening they entered the same room. Zin began to discuss that they had gathered today to discuss various precautions when dealing with their elder brother, so she would first talk about a few points. First of all, in the first part of the elder brother's testament, it can be correctly said that they knew. There is no one to tell what he did. Obviously, he doesn't want to take it so that outsiders don't know that he is very competent and is good at various techniques. Therefore, the sister wrote low things that the elder brother is good at, so others need to familiarize themselves with them. The guy was good at cartography, painting, and calligraphy. The book he gave to his sister, she decided to check it out and didn't even find it for sale, so she believes that her brother wrote it himself. The girls looked at this map and noticed that it was an excellent drawing. One of the twins spent 2 years learning to draw houses, and it was hard to imagine that this was a practical map. And the handwriting on it was very beautiful, as if it was written in calligraphy. One of the Bear twins is that the older brother is an incredible talent and in everything. And it seems that everything that the elder brother knows, he can do, which is simply amazing. 3 days later. Here's a whole girl who noticed that she shouldn't approach her brother or try to greet him in the crowd, and she shouldn't reveal to others, including the teacher, how good her brother is. The master of the hall has appeared. There are rumors that he is the master of the ball, who is quieted down to such a level that he can see the incarnation. The people around didn't know how he had such power to see the sword. The man greeted everyone and said that he was the master of the Blue Heart Hall, and he would like to bring all the students of the Water Mirror Hall. He will personally bring this match today, and hopes that the monkeys can learn something from sparring. The master of the Blue Heart Hall asked the girl if it was difficult for her to gather so many students. She replied that this did not mean anything to her, because she was already used to such things. Then the man decided to pour tea for her, because such an important matter as cooperation between the two halls should have had a personal appearance by the wallpaper master. But the master of the Water Mirror Hall has always been special. So many things are performed by you. The main character personally translated the flowers, and behind him the girl wrote it down. He said that a more characteristic feature of tough woodland plants is that they have white surface spots, or nodules, in the form of growth. The master of the Water Mirror Hall asked the main character whether it was a mistake not to go to your match today, to which the guy mutually decided to find out why, then she didn't go either. The girl said simply because she is the master of the hall, and this is a privilege. The woman suggested that I do something interesting while her assistant was away. Because of the guys who permeated the air with their hormones, and also other stumps who simply ran after the girls. After all, the main character thought that he was able to escape from problems, but then he turned out to have more problems. The woman suggested we go and play. She promised it would be a lot of fun. Hero stated that she is the master of the hall, so she must bear her responsibilities on her shoulders, as the master of the hall has not yet returned to Yanfeng. While the woman refused, Ulan the hero suggested that she find another student, which would take place every time he was personally busy, to be with her. The female protagonist behaves well, because he must continue to teach the student how to care for these flowers. Well, the woman decided to leave and asked to wait here, and she would return soon. After some time, she came with a pearl. 3 options appeared before the guy. Telling her that this is the fruit of the baby's soul is the second option to express surprise. The third option is perplexing. The guy understood that this was truly amazing. This is the fruit of a baby's soul. This flower blooms once every 20 years and bears fruit once every 20 years. It grows only in a few specific places and is occupied by somewhat stronger forces. The woman decided to show off and said that this is the fruit of the baby's soul. It can help a person on the verge of life and death, and this is quite a powerful treasure. So I let the guy take a closer look at him. The guy began to try to smell it. A simple breath gives him the feeling of ascending to heaven, a worthy, excellent material that is rightfully on the list of treasures. The woman asked if the guy liked him and received a positive answer. The guy understood that judging by the options of the system, this fruit of the baby's soul is not at all easy. It is hard and peaceful to get it. In the end, his ultimate goal is to make sure that the system never again gives you awards above basic skills, and there is no way to achieve this. Of course, the only option was to become the strongest in the world. A few years ago, when he had just joined the content sect, there could be dozens of system activations a day. It was just a choice simulator, unlike today, when you have to control the mountain for a long time so that the system works even a little. This means that in the contemplation sect there are fewer and fewer people and things that can threaten it. Then, by analogy, once he has a sight so strong that no one can laugh at him anymore, naturally he will no longer receive difficult options. The woman put forward conditions, and the guy will have fun with her, then he will get it. The main character remembered that during the break when he met this woman, she asked the system once. Then he thought that she was just testing him. But after spending time together, he doesn't think she had any thoughts of that anymore. Instead, she most likely just wanted to scare him. For 5 years, she practically did not appear at official events, and the affairs of the hall were mainly handled by Protector Yu on her behalf. A future hallmaster who keeps visiting the place of work every now and then, she can still obtain treasures such as the fruit of a baby's soul into her hands. Besides, he just showed that he knows the fruit of the soul today. He got himself into trouble. So the hallmaster is a very influential person and has a close friend who is extremely smart. There is only one of the truths. If this person finds out even the slightest thing, there will be trouble. And the hallmaster is not the daughter of some super series who licked to play. The top leadership of the contemplation sect obviously knows about this. So when faced with this delicate problem, they can't just suggest that she can play as she wants, as long as she doesn't harm their sect. It is unexpected that the contemplation sect actually has such support. A patron is of course good, however. You need to be careful with this patron, and it is better to keep your distance from her, however. He agreed with her. After all, this is too generous an offer. You heard the guys playing a game, and when she entered the hall, she was angry that her mother was playing the game when she personally left the event instead of her because she was uncomfortable talking with other people. Of course, the master tried to explain that she wasn't fooling around. She was just having a little fun and that she didn't drink today. Next to them, the assistant knew what they were talking about. It was obvious that the brothers' conditions would not allow the master of the hall. He said that they would play if there was no alcohol in it. Yes. The woman asked the main character why he fell asleep fooling around with the master. Did the guy have options for an answer? Answer that his mother forced him to do it. The second option was that the woman taught him lessons and in the future he will do the wrong thing. Neither the third option is to continue playing as a master, and they said that this is the only way to avoid competition between the two halls. And it looks like the promise of collaborating with the Blue Heart Hall is itself, or less an element of forcing him to practice the point. It looks like the guy should once again clarify the details of their relationship. Then the guy chose the third option and replied that it was the only route to escape from the competition. Yu admitted that this was all done for the sake of the guy. This whole treaty of the Union Hall. The girl understood that if the quality of his soul would be combined with sufficient cultivation, he would become an example among the disciples of the point, and she wanted to lend a helping hand to the mind. He also asked the girl to forgive him for this. Although she knew that she had her own path, she tried to impose hers on him. In sand, the guy understood that there was a deep right here, and it was necessary to explain the relationship again or sooner her lover would kill him. Then the guy said that he did not accept the apology. The woman wondered why this was, and he explained that he should not forgive her just because she apologized. Well, the woman didn't understand. She saw she didn't do anything too serious. Then I said that the main character was very grateful to her for caring so much about him, but he spoke to her very openly. She expressed a desire to go at her own pace, and she agreed with him. However, her behavior on this occasion, for whatever reason, is very pleasant to him, and he also does not intend to treat her anymore as an elder with whom he can have a heart-to-heart talk. the woman, and once again asked the forces for forgiveness for the fact that she was too realistic and did not justify the trust that the guys had. Then the girl asked if she corrected herself and whether her boyfriend would forgive her. He said that such was the case, he would forgive her. Yu gives him good compensation so that the guys ask for it. The hero asked her if she wanted to take part in a game, to which she reacted in an angry voice. The main character decided to leave first. It was interesting what kind of compensation she would give, given the level of Yu. The next day, the master contacted the main character again, and he asked what they would do today. The main character suggested going fishing, but the girl was against it. She didn't understand what the pleasure in this activity was about. She wanted to play poker, or a guessing game. Then the guy offered to cook perch, and the girl was looking forward to this food. Two girls watched the guy cook fish. They smelled a very pleasant aroma from the bottle the guy was holding. Two girls noticed that the taste of this fish was amazing, and the meat gave off an unproduced aroma, and it was very tasty. The master asked to prepare 2 more. That's when the main character said that freshly caught fish from the river would be much tastier. Therefore, he suggested going there again, and she happily agreed. The main character understood that he did not have the health to play and drink with her every day, so going fishing for a change would be a great idea. Yu also entered the room and smelled a wonderful aroma from the cooking. The master explained that the main character had prepared a perch and they were going to go fishing. Yu was surprised that the head of the hall, who couldn't stand calmly for 5 seconds, gathered the old beam. He also asked the protector Yu if she was going to join, but she would have done it all right away, but she was busy and said that she would come over and show him something. From her ring, the woman took out a box containing maidenhair seeds, which turned out to be sufficient for that to atone for his guilt before the guy. That's enough. Everyone has their own path, and it only made things worse if it forced them to take a different path, and not linked by fate, but she should give him the right to choose. The main character went to the city to kill monsters. Those who appeared in the forest happily opened the doors to the tavern for him, but he said that he came to meet Liu. Dolo the hero went upstairs. He charged his younger brother. 3 options appeared in front of the main character. The first was that they would directly ask about special animals. The second was that he would ask about the secret of the hearts. And the third option was forbidden. He would simply chat nonsense in the office. Ran was surprised because the system didn't want him to reveal the information, and someone seemed like he could interfere with them. Then he just decided to chat with his younger brother and see if there was anyone suspicious nearby. The main character noticed one guy who was sitting on the 4th level of the black phase. The only strange thing was whether he had heard about the treasures in the forest. The guys decided to leave, that's right. Okay, the hero told his brother that there was someone in the black phase who was visiting the hotel, but the main character does not know whether he came to explore the forest or not. Now our brother decided to tell us what is happening in the forest, that is, how in addition to the 2nd level cargo beast, which they treasured earlier, Yu Forest also read the Suan beasts and the 2nd level Bloody Shadow. The main character understood that it was good that in the past, he did not have enough points to accurately predict events. But finally he was right, and a great harvest awaits him. Therefore he suggested that his brother rest first and then go into the forest around 9 p.m. Already at night, the first heroes appeared again. 3 options for the first was that he went straight into the turquoise forest, and the second was that he went into the forest at 1 in the morning, and third, ask your younger brother to use the mysterious Numa. The main character noticed that they were being followed by the same man who was in the restaurant. One guy was informed that 2 cultivators were heading into the forest. One is at the 9th level of the phase, and the second is only at the 5th level of the meditation stage. The guy was ready to report this to the boss. The boss later ordered them killed, but fast. Do not mock them. Here are fragments of an organ from still living bodies. Here the ponies are our main characters who were able to fight the bandits. The younger brother was surprised because his older brother was able to kill all these finger bandits. He was completely painless. But he was sad. There was still a long way ahead. Then the main character approached the animals and said that they should not run away. But they didn't become like obedient dogs. The hero also noticed the girl, waking up to her lips. He noticed a side smell. There was a funny smell of roses and orchids, and then for a year I didn't think that you could buy such other cosmetics in the city. Therefore, I asked my younger brother where he thought this cosmetics came from. He was told that most likely this is the city of Anhuo. And finally, the younger brother said correctly, he is a hero. Although they are small, they are not bought there, so he must go there and find clues. And now the main character took out his wallet and took out coins from there. The younger brother said that judging by the appearance of these coins, they were not from the city of Beishan. Also, the main character took out a picture and thought that this guy in the picture was ugly. It looks like the guys were looking for this guy. The main character popped up 3 options. Ask the younger image to find out about the person in the picture. The second thing that was forbidden was that he knew who the man in the picture was. And the third thing is to pretend that you didn't see anything. After the third option, Pavel the guy got 1 breath point. Leonid, it was unexpectedly long ago that he did not receive it. Breath points are very useful during recovery. With the help of this technique, one can even restore physical strength. And it was great. The younger brother told the main character that he wanted to fight the animals. One main character turned to them and said that one of them should fight his younger brother. The one who can win will leave the court alive. The animals looked as if they were in shock. Then the main character ordered the animals to fight together, against one. The younger brother noted that the main character was very scared of the animals, so they won't be able to fight now. Then the main character warned the beast that if he did not win, he would kill him personally. Then the beast began to use its technique, and the main character praised him. The beast began to attack the park, which had difficulty dodging the flies. After an unsuccessful attack, the guys realized that the formula for hiding energy that his older brother taught him was very useful. In battle, the cultivator releases mystical pneuma with every movement. Reach out, follow her, may suggest further actions. The formula for revealing energy masks it, and the enemy will not have an advantage. Then the guy attacked the animal and used a ball of flies to injure the animals. This L was the sword that his older brother gave him, and he was really cool. Well, due to the fact that the guy was distracted, the beast was able to attack him and throw him away, to the ground. As soon as the younger brother decided to get up, the third beast appeared. But then the main character appeared, who stopped the 2 animals and asked them to wait 1 second. He, the hero, also asked the beast whose nerves he had just grabbed from my clothes, and feel more relaxed. But the beast only became angrier. Then the main character must give the beast a chance to attack with all his might. But the main character simply slapped the beast in the face for some reason. He was upset. The smart hero forces his younger brother because he wanted to ride a special animal, so he suggested this as an option. But the younger brother said that he would like to. It is unlikely that he will be able to control him. Then the red beast would have gotten even more angry and tried to do this to the main character, but again received a blow from the club. The main character noticed that although the beast does not want to give up, he understands that he cannot win. And I don't know what to do, so I go crazy and start gnawing on the tree. The hero asked his younger brother whether he wanted it or not. After all, the red beast is unique. The younger brother spoke positively, but he doesn't know if he can control him if the hero doesn't worry. The main character understood that she needed to train the beast and attack it. Therefore, I approached him and asked him not to run away because he wouldn't even hit him. He warned the animals that they wouldn't even be able to run in. The younger brother followed the example of the main character and then defeated another beast. Then he believed that he had disappointed his older brother. Then they told him that this was normal. He defeated a beast that was on the same level as you. But he also made a few mistakes in the process. He should continue to practice when he returns. Rest here for a while. He needs to come to his senses early. This pill collects the energy to protect his heart. Also, the main characters restored their energy to other animals. The main character asked the red beast if the flower of heavenly thunder had blossomed, but what was shown to him was his position. The outflow can gather the energy of heavenly lightning. If you make a pill out of it, then after taking it, you can gain not only thunder resistance, but also thunder power in your attacks. The guy came to wait a little longer while they all recovered, and he started making food. Everyone around them was drooling, to which the hero said that these were the animals that he was now eating, and the others behind him were even very surprised. The younger brother noticed that the main character's cooked food is the best, that's for sure. Then Rand called the red beast to him and gave him a pill, after which the beast swallowed it, and the main character said that he had just taken a menstrual lethal pill. They act immediately. In 10 days his energy will riot and he will be torn apart. If his body is strong enough, he can survive this condition. But in a month he will die anyway. Well, the beast shouldn't worry. If he stops in this forest, he will receive antidotes from his younger brother. The guys came to the flower. 2 options appeared before the huge heroes. The first was that he would carefully examine the flower, and the second move back 50 m. A thunderous sorrow began to pass through the flower. It was truly an amazing event. 3 options also appeared in front of the main character. Wait a little bit and then pick up the flower. The second is to pick up a flower and sit on it. And third, pick up the flower and quickly leave. Then the main character ordered his younger brother to go get rid of the body, and he would come soon. He also ordered the beast to help his younger brother. Well, the hero understood that such bright thunder clearly attracted someone. This flower is truly unusual. He fully gained the power of thunder, and the flies will digest it. The guys were flying, and the younger brother asked the older brother to wait for him a little. After all, he was lagging behind. Then the main character decided to find out why the younger brother's speed had not improved. Of course, the younger brother tried to sell himself that he was training, but the main character did not fully believe him. Two options appeared in front of the main character: go up the mountain through the main gate, or go around the mountain from behind. He was surprised because he didn't have time to return, but the system immediately offered a task. So he ordered his brother to return to the mountain alone. In the meantime, he will go around her and do some business. He also gave him a white bottle and a blue one, saying that the white bottle is an antidote and the gray and blue bottles are what animals especially love. Now it depends only on him whether he will teach the animals bloody shadows. Also, the younger brother came up with a lot of heroes materials that he asked to find last time, but the guy himself is still waiting for news about silver bone ore and other types. The main character asked his younger brother to report everything about his affairs in return. He will install an energy collection array to expose the breakthrough. 3 options again appeared before the main character. Plant a spiritual thunder flower here. The second is to plant a spiritual gumo flower in the mirror garden, and also the third is to find some other place to land. But the guy decided to find some place later because he experienced that a flower can create lightning that will strike this place. The main character wanted to make a breakthrough. He placed a talisman made of the skin of a fiery lion, golden paper, and a crimson celestial crystal around the runes. The younger brother came in. He was very pleased that his older brother allowed this to be done for his sake. When he brought the boy with him, he ordered him to activate his energy. After that, the array was completed, and the rest depended only on the guy himself. The younger brother understood that this time he could not disappoint his older brother, so he would definitely break through. The main character came back to his hall, and then the Vituhu circle, that is, so he approached one of the students and asked him why there were so many people. For what it was that the guys gathered to play chess with the chairman, their pledge of a blue heart. He was a hero, and was even surprised during his 5 years of being here. He couldn't even imagine that there were so many people in the sect who loved chess. But immediately, the main character received an answer. That this is all due to the fact that there are both halls, and there are more and more students. He and the hero understood that what a master, what students. In general, theirs is controlled, or later, the heartthrob sect will disintegrate because of this. Because of the jug, the hero found drawing. He immediately realized that his friend had sent him her work for criticism. The main character decided to come to his brother Lou. Let's go inside. The guys started a dialogue. Brother Lou started first, saying that he had heard about the cooperation of the Water Mirror Hall. There were more people in the Hall of Deep Heart. The brother said that this situation confuses him a little, but he spent all the romantic pills that the main character gave him. Therefore, he is afraid because he could not find a replacement. So I asked him to bring more. The main character is surprised in the distance. After all, there is no need to be shy. Therefore, the main character gave him 2 bottles, and then he will bring more. And the brother himself gave the park a book in return that he found for cultivation. He decided to give it to the main character in case it suits him. She also said that he will soon enter the closed cultivation. If the main character needs something, he can ask him for it. Brother Lou found something new in his cultivation method and wanted to calmly interpret it for a while. After this closed cultivation, he will be very close to a breakthrough. The main character himself should prepare in advance. I need a phoenix flower, so I'll try to look for the hall and the water mirror. To the master of the water mirror hall. The guard came, so the woman asked him why he came to her. The man said that the leader of the hall sent him to discuss something with her. Important. The man came to discuss combining the water mirror with other halls, but the woman immediately refused the park. After all, she doesn't need to hear it. She has already seen many proposals, but he is not going to unite with anyone. The hallmaster was really waiting for our main character. She can't stand the golden moment when they won't be able to eat the fish or even play the game. She missed him very much. And then she jumped to the door because she expected that he would be there with the door. The main character told the rules to the woman, but she immediately asked him why he didn't come and play with her yesterday. He replied that as he had said earlier, he had to leave on business. But it didn't matter to the woman because he didn't tell this duo to her personally. He should play with her for the remaining half a day and make amends. The main hero told her that I was not sending this, but first he needs to take care of the flowers. The main character began to take care of the flowers. He realized that these flowers that he was watering right now were delicate and would soon be ready for pollination. He understood that this was very troublesome. None of them could be reproduced. The main character also said that she accepted Yura again. That's why I called my assistant. A duo of 3 will be better and more fun. Did the main character cut it out? And he told her the name of the hero and her exploits. He was sure that the woman would like her. But Yu was very angry, because she plows like a horse all day. And her mother has the right to have fun, because she said that she should direct Madame to the right Rousseau. But how did it happen that the duo is now playing together? Yu entered the room, and I saw how the guys played faith in him as a hero and offered to join. But she politely refused. She noticed that her madam has recently given up her bad habit. She stopped tattooing her body, and the opium pipe also disappeared. Dresses up and is provocative. The hallmaster asked permission to finish this game in Yu, but I received a positive response. An hour later, the hallmaster was finally able to enter heaven. And the main character also praised for this. When the guy decided to leave, he still had other things to do. That is, he also promised to return tomorrow. Yu approached him on the street and praised him because he is great. She can clearly see whether he is having fun or trying to help. It is not a student who can easily entertain the head of their water mirror hall. The heroes were given 3 options for answering the question whether he meant why the woman left him next to the leader. The guys chose the 3rd option and replied that he didn't care. The guy also replied that he shouldn't be forced to live with a person. He feels that it's too dangerous and he doesn't want to be involved in it. He understood that perhaps the head of the hall was the daughter of a powerful family. She must be protected by strong bodyguards. If they are nearby, he could get into his own trouble. If it weren't for the spirit fruit, he would have run away long ago. In any case, the system did not assume a task when he helped her with bad habits, so it did not matter. He helped with his daughter's memories and he clearly owes him a favor. This means that now he has the support of another influential figure. The main character came to the head of the gold and the master noticed that it would be difficult to meet with a huge hero. Then the main character decided to tell the truth to his master that their union with the mirror of the water, he made a promise to the master of the hall that he would constantly take care of her flowers and plants, that's why. And then the master immediately changed his face and said that he was just joking. He always appreciated his contribution to their gym. The master told the main character that he called him for one reason. Recently, the head of the lunar sect finally broke through the black phase stage and left his closed cultivation, and he turned 100 years old. Therefore, he decided to arrange magnificent feasts and invite sects to it. The main character understood that the black phase is the most important step in order to become a super cultivator, and therefore he is afraid that the status of the lunar sector will soon skyrocket. But then he asked his master how he could help him. The man said that the feast in this case would not be as important as the competition of young talents, fight between old people. Expedient, so they decided to watch the vibrant competition of the younger generation. Find a competition only for combat skills. I will not include competitions in music, calligraphy, drawing, and chess. The sector with the highest Y score. And in order to administer his power, the moon sector has prepared a great reward for the winners. The difference from many masters is that he is the best chess hero in the region, and even throughout the state. Therefore, I want him to participate in chess in the name of their sect. The heroes had 3 options to directly refuse: convince the head to abandon the competition, and also leave the sect, and he would agree to the 4th option. The main character nevertheless agreed to the 4th option, and said that the sector had always prepared him, and he must do everything possible to pay her. The men were very happy. After all, it always seemed to him that he was a hero too urban and did not respect his elders. The master also said that the competition will be in mid-September. The main character has 2 months left. He needs to prepare well, judging by the awards. Therefore, he is afraid that he will activate more difficult task options if he is not serious. Already in the evening, the 2 sisters met. They started a dialogue. The Clockwork Mirror published a list of participants in the competition, but one Yao was not there, so she was upset about it all. Xin tried to console him. The next day, the main character came to Master Shi. The guy had 2 options to ask the woman what was new, and answer her no. Then they suggested we go play that same game, but the main thing was that he had business to do first. Yu came into the room and asked the main character if he was ready to go to the competition held in the lunar sector. But what he said was positive, but she didn't understand why he suddenly agreed. Then the guy told her that as a member of sex, he was obliged to protect her honor. The woman understood that if someone else had said this, she would have believed it, but he never took the initiative, unless the sect was on the verge of disaster. He really understood what the woman said was right on point, but he told the woman that she was wrong about him. He told her that he refused to participate in the case either because he was too weak. But now we are talking about chess in which he is confident. The master asked the heroes if he wanted to accept some kind of weapon from her for self-defense, but he has a special build. 3 options appeared before the guy, that is, Copy told him outright refuses, the second refuses evasively, and the third one is to accept the gift. He understood that the choice should affect the competition. Therefore, I chose the third option and agreed with the weapon. The woman agreed to this amount on the condition that the guy shows her a much more interesting way to play this game. Then she will give him a wonderful weapon. Already in the evening, the heroes came to his house and began to read the book. He never thought that such a mental method of cultivation existed, because the book said that he could receive spiritual energy from everything, direct it to the body in apparent mental energy, until it completely rebuilds the body to such an extent that it comes out automatically absorbing spiritual energy or producing it on its own. Brother Lu knew that the sex techniques were not suitable for him, and deliberately found something completely different. This means he believes that the technique, which differs from the sex techniques, will allow him to break through. He is the one he respects the most. Already in the evening, the girl tried to lure the main character out with the help of stones and threw them at his door. He immediately realized who it was. The girl, using thought transmission, asked the character to teach her calligraphy because he would take part in competitions. 3 answer options appeared in front of the guy: refuse outright, or say what you think, or ask her grandfather what she was going to pay for. She realized that the system was wrong. Why refusal is the most unsafe option? It looks like this will be an extremely special event. You have to be extremely careful. So I asked the girl what she was going to pay. The girl promised that she would give him rewards that would definitely satisfy him. But he also asked for some time to think about the options. The main character gave her a note where the time and place of the meeting were written, and she already believed that this was love. It will be like a date for them. Or perhaps he would even do this exposition here. Until the next day, the lunar hero again came to the Hall of the Water Mirror. Then the main character was doing a lot. After all, the master had a student in his house from the Red Cloud sector. He went to look for flowers. And the woman herself wanted him to be accompanied to the hero by a student. But he was busy. Even she is the head of the hall. She cannot disturb him. The student noted that there is no need for all these formalities, and the first to return back. So there's no need to go early. The main character watched the student and realized that this woman was the reward of the black phase level. The master ran up to the main character and noticed that he had missed his chance. This was the good news she wanted to tell him. The moon hero never wanted to get involved with such a beautiful, dangerous person. Already during the game, the hallmaster read the card, where it was written that they were several robbers and evil sects, and they climbed north. That's why she got angry. These fairy chains of hers are so strong that she can defeat them. Protector Yu entered the room, who asked if they were playing this game again. He is a hero and spoke positively. Then she asked where he gets these caviar, and where so many new ideas come from. He said that this is the best version of the heroes and exploits a woman can call her journey into the world of martial arts. The hallmaster decided to fulfill her promise, and get your weapon. Well, the hero opened the box, and it turned out to be cloud armor, thin as wings, but with excellent protection. You need the feathers of a special beast of the 5th level, and an experienced master of the black phase, proficient in special techniques. Then 2 answer options appeared before the guy and said that it was too expensive and he couldn't accept it, and the second option is to ask the woman what it is. He did. Then the woman split that she is called the Celestial Feather Scolding Protective Equipment of the Black Phase. The guy didn't understand what a strange name it was. After all, the armor is actually called cloud armor. The woman also said that she could only borrow it, but the main character was already looking for her and her proposal, and he said that if she had offered to give it as a gift, he would not even have accepted it. But he's honored to borrow it for a while to compete. The woman also noticed that the strength of this weapon depends on the strength of the wearer, but he is afraid that with his strength it will be able to show only 10% of its powers. But even so, anyone below the black phase would have a very hard time hurting him. The guy thanked her. Already in the village, the main character met his younger sister. She said that she was very grateful that the guy came. This will greatly increase her confidence in competition. But Ran knew very well that the girl's calligraphy was at a good level. He didn't know what else he could teach them. And the girl was already glad because the guy had already said not a single word to her, and even she was knocked down. The main character looked at the girl's work. He understood that when he received a point, he could now repeat almost everything he had seen before. It would be a good idea to try to spread the elegant writing style to the whole world. He took the pussy and began to write. Later he showed this girl, who saw that it was amazing. 2 o'clock later. The girl gave it for enlightenment. She took out a mirror called the circulatory mirror. It can absorb those contained in the opponent's attacks or weapons. The guy was very surprised that few people in this continent can use poison. Most likely this mirror is a unique family treasure. But since the system did not give any message, it could be accepted freely. The guy accepted and thanked the girl for this gift, and also filled it with the fact that they need to return in different ways. And the guys also understood that there were weapons, they could make other preparations. And the girl herself was very happy because he talked to her even more normally than usual. This must be the most supreme love that she considered, mentioned in short stories. Yao approached the twins who called her because they had urgent news. They took her along, and they pointed to the list where their older brother was. The guys were surprised that the older brother agreed to participate. One of the twins thought that the head of the Blue Heart Hall forced him. Now his name is on the list, he has to go. The main character heard an explosion from the house. It turned out to be his younger brother who was able to break through. When the boy ran outside, he saw his older brother and believed that he had been standing here all the time and protecting him. Well, the guy replied that he listened to the service and then came to check. The boy considered this a solution for them, and he said that he was very grateful that he had installed the array, and with the help of Petro, he was able to successfully break through. The main character read the items that he needed: 2 crystal teeth of a fire raccoon, 15 gold pieces of paper, 3 red crystal stones, 2 pieces of fire lion fur. Then Masha's brother said that he remembered these materials and would definitely return them in the future. The main character asked the guy how he felt after the breakthrough. He said that the mystical pneuma inside him very often, and even the cultivation method began to activate faster. The rest can only be judged after a good battle. The boy refused to fight, that is, Gerald refused, and told him to give him a break at least a little. He wants to enjoy this feeling of strength a little more, but everything was fine. The main character gave the boy a list of what he needed to find. Already in the hall of the water mirror, the ointment again stuck to the full hero, and she asked me to do a favor. The woman explained something to the Red Cloud girl from earlier. The master herself is friends with her master. Sometimes she comes to pick up gifts for him. But the guy immediately began to leave. Then the woman begged him not to leave. After all, he said that the game of travel in the world of art, the more players the better. Then the woman asked if the girl from the Red Cloud could join them in the game. In front there were 2 answer options: agree, or say absolutely against it. The woman still continued to ask the guy to allow him to join and play together. If she looks bad on you, then the woman is definitely not a girl. Then the woman asked the main character why he didn't want to make such new friends. To which he received an answer because he doesn't want to be disappointed if you expect nothing, and new connections are not an interesting thing for him. The 2 disciples turned to Brother Huang, and they were finally able to find him. They were looking forward to it. And under the material, that brother, in fact, I really am from the title of 1,000-year-old palm, a reliable student in their sector. Already on the back mountain, this brother found soup for our main character. The main character said that this brother is his rookie, whom he trained 3 years ago. He has neither the support of a powerful family nor the potential, and his behavior in the sect is similar to his. Later during the training, he practiced his calmness and he really appreciates it. Even in his absence as a leader, he was able to take good care of his comrades. So the main character decided to take him as his confidant. Brother Juan told the main character that complete his task. Of course, the main character thanked him and even praised him. After all, the guy passed a lot, and here's the test. And the main thing with me was that the system didn't give any options when he used it. It's completely safe. Later, the main character told him that he was very strong and asked the boy if he wanted to work for him. The guy immediately stated positively. He said with pleasure. He also told him about his plans. He didn't ask anything else. He said directly and recognized him as his mentor. He was a smart guy. He must have believed him earlier, but he didn't say anything. He doesn't show his intelligence and maintains a low profile. For example, he can entrust a guy with the exchange of things that he needs. And the mustache returns with weapons or pills. He has been doing an excellent job for all 3 years, not only with tasks, but also with excellent use of the resources that he gave them, building relationships and developing a large sales network. The main character allowed the park to go to cultivate in one place who was digging for him in Aquarius. He understood that although the guy was smarter and more mature than his peers, he was not particularly well cultivated. He is up to the 2nd stage, the black phase after 3 years of effort. Poor talent prevented him from cultivating behind the back mountain. But he never admitted defeat and always worked hard. I cultivate even while performing a task. Before the elder brother created, he has some news for him. He found a house in a city rich in spiritual energy, in accordance with his wishes. I was even surprised. So he asked his brother to go and have a good rest, and tomorrow we will send Anya here to look at him. In the morning, they ran together into the city. Only the student wanted to eat one pill, and the main character stopped him and said that he shouldn't eat it because he would give him a green spiritual pill, which he made in comparison with what he gave him before. It will not only give him strength, but will also speed up the restoration of mystical pneuma. The boy decided to find out if the main character was going to sell them. After all, he personally knows people who need it. The answer was positive, but he didn't have enough material, so he invited his brother to talk later. After all, he did not use refined jade. I also noticed that the pill wound is always shocking. Most likely, he is already an alchemist in the entire hairdryer area. But the main character said that it doesn't matter how much he sucks up, there is only one bottle of these pills. The only good thing was that it was a pity that no matter how many miracle pills he ate, his cultivation is still mediocre, different from Brother Wu who recently broke through, and he is amazing. The main character asked Juan and gave him things. Lu spoke positively because he gave him some things and said that they needed to be sold. These were the things of the main character, and therefore he warned him to be careful about selling. After all, someone gave him a book with a special cultivation method. He can also try to see how he returns. Maybe it will suit him. The guys came to the village. The conductor greeted them. He said that the house belongs to the master in the black phase, but he went to the Ling region, so he decided to sell it. Rand told the guy that he was interested in it. If possible, he would like to meet the owner as soon as possible and look at the source of spiritual energy. Then he was told that he comes here every day around 6 p.m. Then he offered this day as an option. The guys agreed and said that we would look around here a little before that. In the evening, both men met. This house was divided into the 5th black phase, and the main character understood that even in their sect he would be considered an elite. The man said his name is Feng, and he is a disciple of the Cloud sect. Also, the main character introduced himself, but not by his name, and also did not name his section. The homeowner decided to get straight to the point, and he said that the source of spiritual energy is about 10 steps in size. Then I asked the main character how much he was willing to pay for it. Kiro asked whether he liked energy stones or something else more. The man Volodya turned out to be a straightforward hero. He told him that he preferred stones to energy, but if he could offer something better, a weapon or treasure that he liked, then he could sell the house cheaper. The hero asked the guy which weapon he liked best. He heard the answer from the saber, but the main character was very surprised because the systems were especially quiet today. There were no options after talking with a stranger. Completely unfamiliar feelings. And apparently, luck came to him. The hero took out a weapon, and then the owner decided to find out what it was called. They saw it to him that it was a saber of a golden unicorn skeleton. The blades are made of star steel. As long as he sees his energy in it, his strength will double. The owner was surprised. He understood that the one who created this weapon was an outstanding person. He has been training with sabers all his life, and this is truly amazing. The owner agreed to sell his house for these things. Already on the street, the main character noticed that the array was installed near the house. Clearly collects energy very well. And it seems that it was installed by a courageous master. Just when the guys wanted to make a deal, the owner of the house decided to hit our main character. After that, there was silence, meaning the two guys were confused about what had just happened. The plans of the heroes, of course, asked the owner what he had just done. Well, tell this clone the hero is surprised that the system doesn't even try to give out anything, and it turns out that this guy is simply too much. The system perceives him as a threat. The men believe that he should now be a hero in critical condition. His organs must be in agony right now. The main characters answered him that, unfortunately, this is not so. And he also asked why he started beating him instead of finishing the deal. If he needs more energy stones, he is ready to give them. But the owner of this place just got angrier. Of course, the men were at the peak of the black phase. Find what he was able to do was cut off a piece of the main character's hat. The main character was surprised. He couldn't believe that such a fool could do it. It's unusual to encounter this kind of luck. Maybe his assistant triggered some kind of event. He accidentally interfered with the guy who counted it, and the system missed him. Then he, the hero, asked the owner why he decided to rob them by taking the sabers. Well, the answer was that the man simply threw a pill into his mouth, after which he died. Brother Juan asked, "What are you doing 102nd? Should I kill him?" The hero said that there is no need to do this. You just need to remove the body, give the second one the money, and say that the job was successful. Already in the evening, the servants and people came to the guys. It was their escort, which said that they have professional workers, experienced housewives, and beautiful maids. and they can choose whoever they want. He, the hero, asked the girls to line up, but he decided not to choose a beautiful girl. After all, they always bring problems with them. And then, just like he said, count up, as many as 11 warnings appeared. But it was a great way to get more points. As always, a beautiful woman is dangerous. The very next day, the main character again played as Master Shi, and a bright harbor and a spiritual palace fell out. But now after her move, Ani becomes his. So the price is adjusted, and she has to pay 12 silver. Well, the woman didn't have that much money and dropped out of the game. Also, the guy had no intention of leaving. Then the woman asked how many days he would be in the lunar sect. He said about 10 or 15 days. Then the woman asked to leave the board so that she could play with her assistant. The main character again had two options: refuse her or tell her what constitutes the board. He chose the option of refusal. The woman didn't understand why he didn't want to leave me, and he said that he doesn't quite trust her, and warns her for the last time that if he finds out that she's with someone else once again, he won't come here again. Well, before the guy decided to leave, a woman stopped him and gave him a spiritual fruit. These last 2 months have been fun, and he clearly deserves it. Only the woman wanted to say that the guy protected him as quickly as possible. She has many good treasures. When she returns, she might have managed to finish speaking to me when the guy interrupted her. He understood that the system frankly did not like him, and he could again face danger. If she asks for something and the window system pops out, then it is unlikely that he will be able to cope with it. Then she said that we'll see you, and he'll be back soon. His younger brother ran into the main character's room and was surprised that Ran would be going on Wednesday. After all, he returned the day before yesterday, and the leader of the hall told him everything. And also her boyfriend told the leader of the hall about his breakthrough, and so the leader took him to a secret room and gave him a couple of new lessons. He just came out today, thanks to elder brother. He also said that he wants to make him a team leader in competitions. If the boy performs well, you and your main students will be able to recommend him. The main character understood that most likely the head of Lu most likely did not have high hopes for him, and he asked his question whether the competition here is very strong. Lu herself confirmed this, because according to the head of the hall, there is a very talented 18-year-old guy at the 3rd level of Xuan. In addition, the physical solar section from the Ningui and the forgiving heavenly sect also have very strong disciples. The lunar hero understood that so many strong people at such an age were truly impressive. This means that the moon sector wants to be parasitized by both the older and younger generations. The system options are becoming dangerous, and the camp doesn't know what will happen when the competition starts. But he gave his little brother the pills, from which he received great pain. He asked him to hold on. This body-purifying fire lightning pill would strengthen his body as well. After some time, the younger brother entered the room. He said that he completely absorbed it. The main character explained that he reduced the effect of the pill by 70%, but he still suffered greatly. Well, the spiritual thunderflower ripened 5 days ago, so I made a level 5 pill. However, you need a strong body to pay it, and suspecting that he will not stand it, so he is a hero, reduced the effect. Better brother was very glad that he gave him a level 5 pill. Anyone would fight for her. He couldn't believe what he gave him because he was so caring. Therefore, he thanked his elder brother with a low bow. The main character explained that the pill changes the strength of the body. Thunder-charged attacks no longer damage him. In addition, he became more resilient and improved his reflexes and movement speed. The main character also gave him speed pills from the same flower. He will become much faster, but the trash remembers that they are only for him. If someone else takes them, he will immediately die unable to withstand the load. The main character asked the guy how his cultivation was going. He said that she had completely stabilized after that. The lunar hero praised him and said that he was great, and he needs to try a little slowly. Also, the main character gave him a pill called the Green Spiritual Pill. It restores your energy and physical strength. Lu restored completely with his strength. Yes, he was a hero and offered to fight. He will test how much stronger he has become after reaching the master of the early Zhuan stage. After the fight, the boy lay down and the main character praised him. Speed, and he can use darts very well. The main character also took out a sword. It was called a call. He made it from ghost iron. He can only reveal his full sociality with the spiritual energy of thunder in his body. Therefore, the main character gives it to the boy. The main character invited the guy to try the sword in this territory. After hitting the ground, the sword split the stone. The main character said that Lu used it incorrectly. After charging the ball with lightning energy, he had a way to blow up a huge area. After the thunder pill and the power of thunder, the body of the strong has grown this stick to the correct use of the ball. The hero also told you that crafting a magical ball requires a variety of materials with a high content of spiritual energy and a strong master to use their full potential, or a special form to create. This sword can become a magical weapon, but not now. By absorbing the energy of the creator, he can gain consciousness, which will always be faithful to the owner. Then, when it has enough power, it will work automatically. And finally, the sight of magic weapons. But he will be his anyway. Also, he needs to come up with a reasonable explanation when people ask about him. It's time to go. The master called our main character. His younger sisters heard this. They worked hard for 3 months just to see him, but in the end, they could only meet here. Or participating in this event, Yao practiced with her instrument, eventually taking a place in the group competition, all for the sake of expressing gratitude to him. Like the main character, another student approached and asked to enlighten him on chess games. The main character was surprised at the advice. He remembered that last year, when he played as a foreman, he talked about a very talented student. He has made great progress since he became a representative in this competition. A sector leader has emerged. He was very pleased to see the best students here. He also said that when asking the participant, he was only 19 years old, he had already reached the Xuan stage. He was the only one who had been able to do this in the last 30 years. This was our Lu. He approached the head, and the head said that she meant him to be the leader of this delegation. He receives a green sign that will allow him to command all their participants. His is everyone else. The boy informed everyone that since he took this position, he would definitely do his best to protect everyone on their journey. And I promise that I will take first place and will not disgrace my sect. And the leader also said that they would all go to the birthday party, but they should always keep in mind that the main priority is to perform well in the competition. They should not allow the Moon sect to look down on them. The leader, as always, inspires admiration. Usually people say that friendship trumps competition, but he is sure that it is these measures that everyone must meet completely in the competition. Friendship is spoken after. Yue decided to talk to the main character. She asked if he was a person named Ran. This was observed by 26 sisters of the protagonist. They didn't understand why she came up specifically. Also, the main character did not understand. He deliberately moved away so as not to attract attention. Maybe she wants to conquer all the guys in the hall, the guy thought Blue Heart. The girl understood that the guy froze, and it seemed that he was fascinated by her beautiful appearance. The main character received a notification. The first option is to support the girl with your hands. Help her become straight and quickly dodge. After the guy dodged, the girl fell to the ground. He understood that he could stay away from the Hall of the Blue Heart. These girls are just a problem. Brother Lu approached the main character, despite the fact that the sect's prana was still not carried out. Many people with an unknown Nona take part in it, and he will fill in the heroes that you should always keep a low profile and put safety first. So he gave him 3 hidden wind spells, and he must use them to escape if there is danger. The head ordered all the guys to get ready and get into the carriages. One student approached the main character and offered to take his place. He was ready to give him 2 low-level spiritual stones. That is, the main character was led by 3 options: throw me aside, politely refuse, or agree. He is a hero and understood that most likely threats do not go away from the guy's words. Problems must arise because he is in the same carriage with the girls, and then he agreed with it. The main character finally got into the carriage. He understood that the lunar sector ranks at the top in the field of Fan, both in strength and prestige. And there is no point in doing anything provocative at this competition. Maybe they don't want to find fault with them as a warning to others, but their sector had never shown any intention of expanding in the previous decade. The guys arrived and were met by the leader. The main character understood that I would not send the 9th level Zhuan Li master to greet them. It was amazing, and the hero couldn't believe that they had a lot of students, and definitely the lunar sect wants to show off. Lu approached the guy and asked him to show them the remote control. They were shown to a beautiful room. There was a board inside the room. Then the hero was asked to assemble a chess set. He agreed with this. Parallel. From them, the girls, that is, his younger sister, sat at this table and discussed how the main character was cutting away from them. He definitely saw them but did not react. The girls are sorry that the lunar heroes are not staying away from them on purpose. If he was hiding from them, he wouldn't even show up nearby. Girls with a patience salon have too many people around them. They can't just greet him. We need to wait for the right opportunity. The 2 guys continued to play chess, and their new acquaintance admitted defeat. He confirmed that those people who spoke are huge heroes who tell the truth. Or rather, they said that the head Chen is difficult for the main character. Qingxuan energy appeared with the guys. Therefore, the main character said that he needed to go out for a walk somewhere. He would return later. And the guy must learn theory. Then he asked his student what was the matter. He said that he told him to congratulate the leader of the lunar sect tomorrow. But the guy is very nervous. The lunar sector values its reputation very much, like them, so he didn't know what to do. The main character replied that the leader of the sect is an ancestor of the same level as myself, a guy, so there is no reason for him to hear his life. He must behave decently and protect their reputation if he becomes a coward. Their head will be unhappy. Later he handed it over to the heroes and 4 options appeared. Go to the Allies west. Take the other road to the east, go like a sidewalk to the south and follow the road to the north. When the main character was walking, he heard 2 guys talking about the fact that their 5 people were wounded, disciples of the sect of authentic arts. Lu decided to figure out who dropped his people and stood in front of the guys. And he directly asked the question, and the answer was that his people were the first to wound his younger brother. That is, another section also appeared. The men decided to attack Lu. After the fight is over, the man thought that Lu was very happy, because he couldn't even get into a dialogue with him himself. The guy said that the man looked at his chest, and there was a symbol carved on it. The number of marks indicates how many times he was able to express his heart with his ball. There are 5 marks in total. The man understood that the guy was doing it so quickly that he couldn't even see him moving the ball. He would be a monster, maybe even stronger than Master Xuan. At one point an old man appeared, sects of the arts. It was their elder Shu. Lu him. Look, he explained that he shouldn't have anything to do with me in the conflict of the younger generation. That is, he came here in order to deal with the guy. He came here to bring their disciples. And don't think that anyone forgets them all so easily. Lu leave. Why even live the river and then simply stopped conflicting in any way? The main character caught several great masters fending off nearby. None of them got in the way of the conflict. As a result, they did not just wait for opportunities, but did not interfere only if it would lead to death. And it seems the main character knows what the head of the lunar sect wants. He will only be there once if the sects start conflicts, and the stronger the better. Even if all the heads of everyone knew about this, they would be embarrassed to fight on his territory. As a result, they will not be asked to become his judge, which will raise the reputation of the sect in the Feng field to a new level. This means the real reason why bring competitions to their territory and invite various sects. The main character asked an acquaintance to directly initiate a conflict with the sect of true arts, so he thinks their head will be happy with the result. Despite the fact that all these are his ideas, I know there are no alternatives. They must be true. Kill a bunch of birds with one stone. For now, manipulating from the shadows is a better choice for him. Already in the evening, the main character was approached by a girl who wanted to flirt with him in a different way. She approached him and asked if she could sit down. The guy had 3 possible answers. When you invite her to sit down, tell me the second option, of course, please. Third, of course, please leave this place. As soon as the girl sat down, the guy immediately decided to run away. She understood that he seemed too responsible. She would have to be much more cunning to meet him in the future. 3 more answer options appeared in front of the guy. Come up next to the girl, these, and to greet her. Immediately turn around and leave. Okay, the hero chose the 3rd option. He didn't know who she was. A level 8 reward, that is, when the master wanted to warn them. He didn't understand why there was danger. It's just that the throw is not nearby. He understood that it was somehow meaningless. They never even spoke. Therefore, she simply cannot be dangerous for him. Well, that was it. Lu decided to report to the head what had happened, that their people had come into conflict with the disciples of the True Arts sect. I asked who won. Then the guy said that the parties suffered. Later he went to ask for Spring, and one of their students won. And their elder also appeared and began to intimidate him. And before he could finish speaking, the boy became angry, because if the old man decided to intimidate a generation, then he insulted the entire sect. When the head of the hall called the old man, he left a moment later. I asked the head what his business was. Then he received an answer as the elder of the sect and the truth of the arts. The old man said that he approached him because they also wounded you students. But the head decided not to believe his words, and he will shake up the youth. The head got angry and started using his techniques, and the main character himself watched this link. The head of their sect appeared. You, the head of the reserve sect, did not notice that he was raising children poorly. The 2 heads decided to fight. Then the head of the Guva suddenly appeared between them. First of all, he asked whether the guys were dissatisfied with his effort. But they didn't answer negatively. They weren't very happy, but they had more than a little conflict. Then the head said that since they had a small conflict, they needed to sit down and discuss it. He had just recently opened a jug of good wine. The main character understood that the heads of the sector, both emperors, would just destroy someone else's court. Well, of course not. But they didn't know that if they freed their spiritual energy, the head of the Guan would immediately come. Either way, the fight isn't looking for a place, so they just break up the drama and make it happen. Apparently, since no pop-ups appeared, everything is fine. And a similar threat does not come from the moon sector. And the main character needs to go and collect information about other places.